stump by Ollie Pope. He's got best bowling in tests, has Daryl Mitchell, a 1 for 7. He got that against the West Indies at Hamilton in 2020. That wicket being Jason Holder.
Could be worse.
Of course, he's massively past his highest ever test score. So,
yes, prior to this series, his highest test score was 102.
YouTube's back okay.
YouTube, is everything now back and ticking? Hot mic, the works? Yes, it's uncanny as we wait. This one's steered away into the offside by Pope. He moves on to 140. Root has 2 Mitchell deliveries to face, and he is on 97. Well,
is Bear going to lay some odds on whether he'll get to 100 this over?
Well, I'm not sure the Bears had time, because the Bear has been basically... it's uncanny how the technology must have known he was pulling up outside the door and decided to spend that moment to completely fall over left, right and centre. But I think we're back on all channels. Monitors back and working. Some connection had given up the ghost somewhere, but we seem to be back and running. In comes Mitchell to Root, and Mitchell pushes that one through, and Root had come down the track a little bit and ended up just having to dab it into the ground.
There's a little bit like Magic Alex in the Get Back documentary, isn't he? The technical guy.
Is he? I think I know who you mean. Yeah. Yes. There's bits of string, sellotape, and
that's exactly right. That's exactly how it was.
Lord knows what else that somehow holds everything together. And just about does it, but you do tend to live by the seat of your pants as to something's always about to fall over, as this one is left outside of the off stump by Root. He's not going to have a go for that, and it means at the end of the over, Mitchell has none for 1. England are 317 for 2. They trail by 236. The follow-on is close to being avoided, but they're not there yet, and we shall go to Al.
Well, I've just lost a load of comments on YouTube because it's closing and restarting again.
Oh Lord! Well,
no, it's just the way the wafer crumbles. So we're kind of up to date on social media.
Well, blimey,
we had some people telling us that we were still okay on audio, but
yeah, no, we were.
Now that we're back on all channels, then yeah,
we were indeed okay on audio.
This is Pope's highest test score.
It is indeed by...
previously it was 135, which was his only other century.
Bracewell to continue. Down the track comes His Holiness. Pushes it back to Bracewell, who has a quite splendid mop of hair, he says enviously. Does Bracewell. Santner-esque almost.
Is his father or his uncle or his great uncle?
His
John
uncle.
Bracewell.
His uncle is John Bracewell, I think, as this one is pushed away into the offside. Throw comes in. There's no run. 317 for 2.
I seem to vaguely remember. Did John Bracewell bowl more or less like this as well? My memory is indistinct.
I can't remember him. To the back foot goes Pope, pushed away and to mid wicket. They take a single. I have a feeling Bracewell played in the only ever win here for New Zealand at Trent Bridge. I'm going to have to check my facts on that one. In 1986, I think, from memory. Bracewell is in, on to the back foot goes Root, clips this towards mid wicket, hurries a single. It'll move him on to 98. 2 balls left of the over, as I desperately try and find that 1986 test at Trent Bridge. It's the only time ever that New Zealand have won here. I have it here.
Not the greatest time.
John Bracewell, he made 110. Yes, he did. Uncle John made 110, as this is waited for by Pope. Dabbed straight to back the point.
Looks like he's getting quite a lot of overspin, doesn't he? He's not sort of Nathan Lyon around the Cumberley style rather than side spin here, which must make him difficult to sweep.
Yes, indeed. As we wait for Bracewell, in he comes. Nicely forward comes Pope. No run. John Bracewell also took 3 for 29 in that game. In the England's second innings.
He was a spinner.
New Zealand won by 8 wickets. Richard Hadley was man of the match, not surprisingly, with 10 wickets And obviously the ton for John and those 3 wickets, so pretty big game for him as well.
Over to you, Al.
Farong sent us a picture. The new old tea stall was knocked down a month ago to install a shitter pit at the construction site, but up and trading again. Need the wind to pick up a bit. Crowd just roared as Pant went out. Dono, Steve Waugh scored his first ton in his 26th test. Ollie Pope just got his second ton in his 25th test. Not comparing Ollie Pope to Steve Waugh, but fucking hell, that makes me realise that Pope has played a lot of tests. And Jay Grover, Daryl Mitchell looks like a vaguely South Asiatic henchman in an Indiana Jones movie or Captain Nemo.
He's in, and it's cut, but it's cut straight on the bounce to 4th slip. Joe Root still has a big smile on his face. He's looking back at Mitchell, who I suspect is mentioning something to the effect about keeping him honest, or word to that effect. Once again, a little interplay between the players is I'm sure sharp and humorous, but nonetheless good-natured, which is always good to see. 319 for 2, 234 the deficit. Mitchell, right arm over, wide of off stump. Root leans into it, steers to extra cover, just gets a single. He'll be on to 99. He's doing it in singles. He's been down this road before, though, and he doesn't look overly troubled.
No, he doesn't. The other thing he's just done is he's gone up and past the 50 average, which is psychologically quite nice for him.
Absolutely, yes, he has. He'll be delighted by that, I am sure. Tim Southey in this game, I know, needs 8 wickets to reach 350, but he's not done so well thus far. In comes Daryl Mitchell, Daryl not David, guided towards point by Ollie Pope. No run. Ben Stokes is only 15 sixes away from overtaking Brendan McCullum, who's the leading 6-hitter in Test history. I don't think he's... Well, you never know. It'd be some innings if he got all of those this day.
That's for sure.
But you never know. 320 for 2. 233 is where the deficit hangs. 33 more runs to avoid that follow-on. And that's steered, but steered. Oh, he was trying to thread it between cover and extra cover. It does get Pope a single. It gives Rooty, who is on 99, 2 more Mitchell deliveries.
Do you get the sense...
2 more before the new ball.
Indeed. Do you get the sense, guys, that Brendan McCullum has said on last night, we can still win this, hence the scoring rate today?
I suspect there is a bit of that, and I think it's also possibly that if England's going to always look to play on the front foot, fact is if they'd gone into their shells they could still have been rolled for 150, you know, so
and we're more likely to
we might as well enjoy it. Now let's have a look at this field. There's 2 slips, there's a short third man, a backward point, a cover and an extra cover, all of whom are quite short, and Root has gone out to try and crash this through the offside. It's got a whopping inside edge. It has gone down to what is effectively the fine leg boundary. That's how he mishit it. Doesn't matter how you get him. It does mean that Joe Root has got his ton.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Congratulations, sir. You are a centurion.
Trent Bridge rises to a man to applaud the former England captain, who's done a Mitchell. Back-to-back tons from Lords to Trent Bridge, and magnificent effort it was. Only 116 balls, so best part of a runner ball as well. He's really gone on a clip to get to those 3 figures. 325 for 2 now England. Mitchell in. Root waits, cuts delicately down towards third man Conway Fields, and there is just a single taken. The second new ball's available. I would be surprised, Forthy, if they don't take it.
Oh, I was going to say wouldn't put this century quite at the same level as a couple against India, aesthetically speaking, because I thought they were absolutely really an aesthetic masterclass. But again, coming through for his team when he needs it most. I'll hand over to Al for tweets.
Yes.
We're all kind of up to date. Interesting for me. Jacob turned around and mentioned that this is Root's 80th score of over 50, but it's his 27th test ton, which is a conversion rate half century into century of effectively 1 out of every 3, just a shade over 33%. Do you think that? I don't want to turn around and make this all about he doesn't turn enough 50s into 100s when he's just got 2 in a row, but it does become interesting that you do kind of look at him with 27 test tons and go, there's a couple we might have left there on the, you might have left a couple of bigger scores out there,
Yes, I'm not going to.
The second new ball, by the way, has been taken, which is not at all, I suspect, a surprise, but it has been taken.
New balls, please.
It's in the hands of Tim Southey, who swings it quite a lot, but gentle away swing, really, and there is no run. Al,
I wouldn't be surprised, Al, if we saw that conversion rate begin to come down now he's no longer captain. I sense a little bit more liberation and some gravity has fallen off his shoulders since he stopped being captain.
I'm seeing quite a few tweets coming through. Have you sort of fully refreshed there, Al? Maybe I was dreaming it.
Yes, I know how Twitter works.
Oh, I know. Okay, I'm just checking. This one is left alone outside of the off stump again by Root.
You're talking about the 2 tweets that came through within the last minute?
No. I'm talking about Captain Nemo for Jay, 8 minutes ago, which I don't recall hearing. Our friend the Naked Fun Porn Bot. Jay Grover agreeing with Mog, a few other things. After that, yes, there are some more recent ones. 104 for Joe Root. He's facing Tim Southey again, away swing. But Root, who must be seeing it pretty large at the moment, is happy enough to watch that by under his eyes and through to Blundell. No run. It's been a tough day for the bowlers. 40, none for 66 for Southey.
Tough day for the bowlers, but there's only really been 4 of them though, aren't they? They're getting a bit knackered. They're not as young as they once were, particularly Southey and Bolt. I think one thing I will maybe come back to after this ball is the wicket keeping. Let's have a look at this ball.
In comes Southey. That one moves off the pitch as well as some swing, but all rather late and started off wide of off stump and went wide, taken in front of first slip.
I think Blundell's bowl kept rather okay, and there's been some tricky wobbles late on, and he's been caught out by a few. But I do think it underlines what a great keeper Ben Folkes is, who didn't seem to be troubled by any of those wobbles at all. Looked in imperious form.
No, I think that's fair enough. Yeah, some 1 for 56 for Trent Bolt, 1 for 106 for Matt Henry. There's this one, a swing and a miss by Root and not a lot of footwork, and that was probably the first real lazy shot, and he got suckered into that. He was looking to cut. It was the perfect away swinger from Southey, and it was a minuscule millimetre away from claiming the root of the former, the wicket of the former England captain.
And with 3 minutes to go to the tea break, he would be absolutely
he's really kicking himself. What's Southey got here with his 2 slips? This one is onto the toes of Root, who's up and steers to deep backward point, takes a single, will bring Root back onto strike. Oh, well, actually no, it's the end of the over, so they should get one more in, one would expect. So quickly, Al.
Jay Grover, I'm with Mog for Root shite. Warren, was Tony Bishop's doppelganger woken up by the cheers from the crowd for Root's 100? Gorilla Sound, is this Twitter? Is this where I find Al Hotchkiss? Please tell me how this works. Warren, please, things you expect to hear on GC Radio number 301. We are up to date with tweets. Al Hotch, no, I know this won't be read out, and I know how ironic this is. So there you go, Warren.
You get on it.
Right, Trent Bolt, not surprisingly, with Southey with the first dig with the new ball. 180 this third wicket partnership, which has been magnificent. I would venture it's probably the highest third wicket partnership against New Zealand, but I will see if we can validate that particular.
Well, when was the last time that England had 2 centurions at home in a home test match? Just trying to remember.
This one is left outside of off stump, and is no run. Highest third wicket partnership all told at Trent Bridge was Melville and Norse for South Africa against England in 1947. Neither of whom, I have to say, I can spring to sort of, I don't have a mental picture of either in my mind. I've got to be perfectly honest.
They had a decent team just after all, South Africa, didn't they?
Yeah, well, that is very true. This one is nicely steered away by Root for another one of these.
Give it to me 1 time. Give it to me 2 times. Give it to me 3 times. Yeah. Give it to me 4 times.
Beautifully guided through mid-wicket by Root.
There is it's coming through a little faster, but I'm not seeing any real demons with this new ball. Ooh, goodness.
That ball goes past the outside edge.
It did indeed. No run. The highest partnership, third wicket partnership, no, it's nowhere close actually, 245. Hardstaff and Wally Hammond at Lords in 1937. Highest third wicket partnership versus New Zealand. 331 for 2. Joe Root batter loft. 109. Nearly gets an edge. Another loose drive. Rooty T is just around the corner.
Put your head in.
Rein it in, boy.
Yeah. Reset.
Not
Think
the
of the
first
scones. Have a nice Yorkshire Eccles cake and reset with a strong cup of Yorkshire tea.
Are you jam or cream first?
I am jam with cream on top. Al, how about you?
I normally just chop it in half and then kind of just one on either and then just kind of smush them together. So.
Oh, you maverick.
By Root. Isn't one Cornish and one Devon?
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
But I can't remember which is which.
This.
I'm sure someone will tell me. 331 for 2. Root looks a lot more confident leaving that one.
We should probably speak to our Devonian correspondent, Annie Chave. She'll be able to tell us.
Yes. I'm sure will be able to tell us that. If you're listening, Annie, which way round is Devon and which way round is Cornwall for cream tea, cream and jam? This one slanted across Joe Root. He definitely going to have nothing to do with that one. Blundell, well, he took it in front of first slip and ended up lying in front of second, so he had to really fling himself. But he did. It's the end of the over. It should be tea time. Bolt has 1 for 60. England have reached tea with just 2 down. Both the men at the crease have made their hundreds. England are 331 for 2 with Joe Root on 105, is it? No, he's 109 now, I think. Let me just quickly refresh my
136 runs in the session.
Yeah, Ollie Pope on 142. Can he bat at 3? He can on a very flat Trent Bridge track, that is for sure. It is tea time. England are 331 for 2. This partnership is, remind me what the partnership is, and then we'll go to some messages.
180.
180. Wow. Untold riches. Al.
No more Butlins. A picture still in the desert with 400 students from the military school I work at. You men are improving my morale. Others are inspired by flag and country. I will fight with the guerrillas. Rajesh Mohan. I once saw Joe Root score not a century. Yeah, I am that old. And Jay Grover. Can I just tell Leah that I have no sock puppet accountants? Not sock puppet accounts. Then again, after the filth spewed today, I think I am ever more redundant. And with that, I have to take my leave. I've got to do some travelling for about 300 miles. So,
yeah.
Well, travel safely, Al.
Safe journey, safe travels, Al.
Thanks very much.
We will line up some tea time entertainment for you. And after tea, you can look forward to none other than the Bear, who will go into commentary rather than technology rescue mode. Messers and Dono, who's heading his way back from a gig. Until then, take care.
And Vipers, which is the regional side, which is involving Hampshire. But cricket, cricket's been dying for 300 years, and it hasn't died yet. And cricket has a remarkable ability to adapt and move with the new times. I think at the moment we just haven't worked out the answer for this particular moment in the journey. We will. There is an answer. There's always an answer. And there's a huge red ball, white ball debate. And we're in the middle of it. And we just have to find the solution. T20 hasn't been around that long in the scheme of things. IPL has been around for even less than T20, which started in England. And IPL now pretty much dominates the landscape. So we have to work all of these things in to understand how that impacts the English domestic game. And we're in the middle of that debate, to be honest. And we have to find the answer to that as soon as we can.
Well, 60% was the number of viewers, I think, for county streams were 18 to 34. That's a long way from the traditional view of the county match watcher. That's not blasts. That's the 4-day game, which I find to be incredibly encouraging. Let's move on a little bit, because as we think about the future, but the longer term as well as the immediate issues, opening pathways and pulling through a diverse talent base, reaching out to those communities. I know, for example, the expansion of the ACE programme, Middlesex have just got on board, Surrey, Warwickshire, shaking that nationwide. What are some of the things that Sussex is doing, not just to pull through young talent as you think about pathways, but to ensure that you're reaching out to the broadest mix of talent?
Yeah, that's obviously highly pertinent question at the moment, and in for lots of reasons. Mainly because it's obviously the right thing to do, and we have to broaden the pathway and broaden the scope of interest in cricket, and then give the opportunity to those youngsters who come through. So we're through our club network, which goes back to what I said before about how involved we are with the game across the whole county. Through our club network, we've just launched 2 urban plans in Crawley and Brighton, obviously 2 of our bigger urban areas. We haven't got huge urban areas in the way that, say, a Warwickshire or a Lancashire would have. So we've got different challenges perhaps to other counties, and that's the nature of the geography. But we're working very hard in Crawley, which has a very strong Asian population, huge cricket lovers, a lot of cricket clubs expanding in Crawley. We're working very closely with the local authority to improve facilities, to ensure that there are enough grounds, because that's the other thing that clubs are finding, particularly those clubs who play on council-owned facilities.
So if you want to complain about county wickets, you want to play on the local rec a few times.
Well, there's a whole range of things there that come under this umbrella, and it's difficult. Cricket's a complicated game. It's an expensive game. It's not as easy to pick up as with football. You put your jumper down in the park and there's your goalposts, and off you go. You've got a game. It doesn't work like that with cricket. You need a lot of equipment. You need a lot of quality coaching. So we're working hard in those areas to help with facility improvements, working with the UCB and others. We're working very closely with our schools to try and, with Chance to Shine, to try and get school cricket back into schools, at the junior level in particular, and in secondary schools with girls programs in secondary schools. That's been a big change in all sport, is the drop off of sport in schools, particularly secondary schools. So we're working very hard. We have a huge project with the state school in Brighton, the Brighton Aldridge Community Academy, which has been going for nearly 6 years now, which is a brilliant project where the facilities there are absolutely outstanding. And then we do work very closely with our private schools as well, and that's something that the private schools in this country provide a great service to cricket. The facilities are outstanding. A lot of young talent. There's often a lot of criticism of it's all about private schools. What you find is that a lot of kids are given scholarships to private schools because of their cricket or because of their rugby. And sometimes that's forgotten, that actually private schools are helping the game, and they often get unfair criticism in my book for it's all about private education. Well, a lot of these kids wouldn't get that education if it wasn't for the cricket, which in turn started in the state school, started at the club, and it's an environment that we just have to keep growing and get as many kids
that kind of goes a little bit
in the game as we can.
Yeah, I mean that goes a little bit to the role of the county at the centre of cricket in the county. So yes, I take your point very much about the contribution of private schools, whether you like it or not, however you may feel about that. The fact is that is true, and it remains so. But the county also ensures that work done there can extend out to areas where it might not otherwise be played, to support those areas where there is talent that can't get to that. And do you feel that it is the role of the county within the community to ensure that it kind of works both ways? I've explained that right, that you're expanding where cricket is played by enabling it as well as by obviously keeping strong where it has traditionally been strong?
Yeah, and it's a absolutely great question, because we can't cut off our nose to spite our face. We have to strengthen the game where we can. We have to go into areas to grow the game where the game isn't actually being played at the moment, and that's a really important thing for us, and we're trying to do that across lots of different areas of the country. It's a fascinating argument, and we have to just get better. We have to keep giving opportunities to more kids who haven't had that, whether it's street cricket, starting kids off with street cricket in areas where there aren't any cricket clubs, for example, and then finding opportunities for them to go to a cricket club or bring cricket into the school that they're playing through a Chance to Shine program or a Lord's Taverners program. Just get a bat and ball in as many kids' hands as we can, and then find the right pathway for them to work their way through.
You say your purpose is inspiring a passion for cricket, and I think what you've said there is you could add the word everywhere. It isn't just about or within Sussex. I mean, but nonetheless, it isn't just where it's traditionally strong, make it stronger. It has to be build on the strength where it's strong, but ensure that you open up new audiences. And I think you've said very clearly that's a big goal, and that's a key pillar of your plan, I guess.
Well, it's a huge. I mean, it is right at the forefront. That's what we're about as an organisation. That's our number one priority. Is creating a passion for cricket and giving opportunities for everybody to have a go at cricket. And then, eventually it all works up to the county first team at Hove, and then obviously we want to do well at Hove, because if we don't people get upset and the members get upset if we're not doing as well as they'd like us to. That's all part of the sort of cricket infrastructure and the cricket journey, and then obviously that gets magnified 1,000,000 times when you go to the international level, because once you get to that level, everybody has a view on what should or shouldn't be happening. Yeah, but that's why it's so interesting, and that's why everybody has an opinion, and that's why we're having this conversation. It's why every man and his dog, jumps in on the conversation about what's wrong, what's right, what would I do, who needs to be sacked, who needs to, be dealt with, It's the beauty of modern day sport. It was always thus, except it's now magnified 1,000,000-fold because of all the things that we've seen change in our lifetime around, media, social media, just the 24/7 interest in modern day life and sport.
Let's talk a little bit, if we may, about the women's game. You mentioned some of the initiatives there, because I was looking at those sort of 5 pillars that made up that plan, and one of them is very much transforming women's and girls' cricket in the county. Just tell us about a couple of the things that are helping to drive that pillar forward, if I dare call it that.
Yeah, we don't like the word pillar, but we'll let you off. We'll let you off with that, Tony.
Foundation.
Personally, I think I'm sure every sport will say this. I think it's the most important thing about cricket for the future. I think getting girls and women playing the game, and they're doing it extremely well, as we can already see, growing that base of interest and talent has got to be, and it is a huge priority both for the ECB, and if it isn't for all counties, it should be, because it's just the right thing to do, and it's the right thing to give girls an opportunity to play sport. I've got 3 daughters. Sport to me is sport should be, it doesn't matter what sport it is, but some kind of sport, some kind of exercise should be along with reading and English and maths, quite frankly, in terms of how important it is to life. We somehow have managed to lose that through successive governments over the last probably 40 or 50 years, but let's not get started on that. We'll be here for a long time.
We'd have a series, Rob, not just the one-off interview. An interesting idea, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's, and it is just so important. And why not cricket? Girls that take up cricket absolutely love it. We have pathways. We have our Sussex Women's programme, which is based out of Backer, the state school that we talked about. We obviously feed then into the Southern Vipers, which is the regional side, which is involving Hampshire and Oxfordshire. It's a big South group that ensures that our Southern Vipers team are then feeding into the Southern Brave in the 100 and then into the England team, and we're seeing how extraordinarily well
they will be playing matches at Hove as well as other centres, will they?
Yes, they play. The Vipers play at Hove. We were going to be a Southern Brave women's venue before COVID, and now the matches are obviously double headers at the Ageas Bowl. But no, our interest in women's cricket has been long-standing, as many people will know, going back a long time. Again, Claire Connor, current ECB head of women's cricket, MCC president, long-time Sussex captain and board member. So Sussex has a huge history, and you touched on this at the very beginning. This year it's our 150th year at Hove. Wow. First game June the 6th against Gloucestershire, W.G. Grace was on the ground, the very same ground that we're currently playing on.
Yeah, I love going to Hove. It's a great place to visit.
So it's these things are really important to me, to sport. And I think you cast them aside. You do the sport huge damage if you do that. And the other thing which I touched on earlier was just the number of clubs now who want to have a girls section is just exploding. Clearly lots of benefits all round, and it's the right thing to do. And it's just fantastic to see the amount of girls and women that are playing cricket.
It is fantastic. You talked about Hove and its history. In the current situation, let's call it one of flux or change, though who was it said change is constant. Bob Dylan,
true.
he not busy being born, etc., is busy dying.
Yeah.
Change is forever. But does a club like Sussex, a non-test match ground, does it have to work harder in some ways than a Lancashire, a Yorkshire, a Notts, a Surrey? Does it? You have to pedal that much faster and do that much more to be competitive, really, I guess.
Yeah, I think we do. I think it's becoming a bigger challenge. There's undoubtedly, as the test grounds get big.
Right, we're back. Afternoon, fellas. Afternoon, Dono. How are you, mate?
Good evening. Oh no, sorry. Good afternoon for you.
Good afternoon.
Good evening for me.
What time is it? It's in the middle of the night.
Morning for you.
1 a.m.
Oh, it's not
just
as late as I
gone.
thought it was. Okay, fair enough.
No,
It's a post-gig Dono.
Yeah.
it is.
Are you pissed? That's
a
what I want
Sunday
to know.
night. A Sunday night punk rock show before a public holiday Monday. Perfect.
Ah, sweet.
Brilliant.
Local Australian punks or someone I would know?
No, local Australian, a band called Body Jar.
Never
They were
heard
the
of
first band that I ever saw in 1997.
them. Wow, still going. Old punks, man. That's
Yep.
cracking. Well, I went.
I feel a bit worried. I'm trapped here between two technical geniuses, so I'm pretty well guaranteed we're going to crash at some stage in this session.
No, it was a nightmare this morning. I got up and I thought I'd just do it on TeamViewer. TeamViewer wanted me to get a bloody license all of a sudden because I've been using it surreptitiously. You can use it for free for quite a while, but if they start seeing patterns in your usage, they suddenly ask you. I bought a license because I was expecting this to happen, and then I couldn't fucking activate it. It was just like crying out loud, and it's a Sunday, and the phone's off, So all a bit of a disaster. And then I went to my kids' football ground where they were having awards, which I missed because I had to come here. So it's been one of those days. Anyway, we're back after lunch, tea even, and I've been keeping an eye on this on Crick Info. Man, we've been rattling along, haven't we? Glad to see Ollie Pope's got a ton. He's doing really well.
Yeah, his second ton. I tweeted before, his 25th test. So he's now in the top 20% of English male cricketers in terms of test matches played by playing 25 tests, which surprises me immensely. I love Ollie Pope, but I did not think he had played that many tests.
Well, no. I mean, he came on. He burnt brightly when he came on, didn't he? And then he suffered.
And he's still only got an average of 31.
Yeah, well, he leaves that one through at the keeper. It's first ball after lunch. It'll be Tim Southey. Ought to play some jingles, I suppose. This man.
It's only a whimsical motion to fly with Tim Southey tonight. I probably won't fly with Tim Southey. But again, I'm just mine.
Got a bit of luck last night as well. It was dropped by Mitchell, wasn't it? First slip.
Yeah.
A bit of hoop there for Southey. Just some gentle outswing.
Yep, there is. That is defended nicely. Gets down the track, takes a pitch, takes a step down the track, defends it stoutly through point, out to the man, sweeping on the cover boundary there. Get back for two. I mean, if England can score, they've been rattling along. They've scored, 240 runs by T? They've got another 2.5 hours. That should be another 120 odd plus half an hour's worth of runs potentially. Another 140 runs. They'll be only 80 runs behind when they come back tomorrow with 2 days to play.
That's the
Well,
thing.
this
They'll be
is a
looking.
crucial
They'll be
session,
looking
isn't
at
it?
being
Brand new
between
ball.
50 and 80.
It's left alone through the keeper and there's no one. I think you'd be surprised. What, tomorrow morning you mean, behind? Or,
Yeah, so tonight between 50 and 80 behind.
Yeah.
And that does that set the game up? I'm not sure if it does.
Well-
the pitch needs to do something.
But the pitch needs to do something
Yeah.
first. Basically, the pitch looks like an absolute beauty to bat on. But then it's been for England, it's been reasonably warm. It's been reasonably sunny. It might start to go. Maybe it won't go till day 5. But there's that one comes back into Pope. There's an appeal by Saudi. He's running down the track. Caught the inside of his thigh. Probably too high. Maybe a minute inside edge anyway. Yeah. Latham's laughing. He's not even considering a review.
We're in this beautiful moment where I've just seen the ball hit the pad, approx 17 seconds behind.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
But that definitely wasn't out.
It definitely wasn't out. See, was my description any good, Dono? That's the.
It was bang on.
Right, there you go. Thank you very much. Confirmation. Pope faces up. Saudi is in, and it's left alone through the keeper, and there is no run. Are you watching it off an internet feed of a feed, like an official feed, but off an internet?
I'm watching via Foxtel or via KO on my television.
Oh, okay.
But that's delayed too.
Yes. Right. Okay. And what are you watching it on?
I've got the same. So
you're
I'm
both-
about a ball behind
Okay.
in terms of what I see there, and
I'm talking
and the
to
feed
you.
that comes through Zoom can be up to an over behind. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. Well, it costs a lot of money to get it all in time around the world. As that's clipped into the leg side and there's no run. The BBC use some weird system, which basically everyone logs into, but you have to basically pay for a sort of business subscription to Sky plus a fee to them to be able to get anyone from anywhere in the world to be able to log in, and then they can all see it. It syncs up everyone in time. But obviously that's quite a lot. Pope is asking for something. Either gloves or bat or a new pad.
5 more runs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can't remember what his top score was. It looks like the strap on his pad's broken. When he dived, I've probably got the stitching got pulled out. So we're going to have a little break while that happens.
Jay Grover says,
sorry.
Well, Jay Grover said, I just googled Body Jar. Apparently they're pop punk. I'm guessing that they're the Australian Backstreet Boys.
Ooh, no.
I'm not going to engage with that ridiculous comment, but thank you for listening in.
That's Jay just trying to have his stir as usual.
Exactly. Are they 3-piece or a 4-piece?
4-piece.
4-piece. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent the night talking to the original guitarist and drummer who both were coming along to watch. I think neither of them been in the band for 15 years, but they still go along and have an absolutely wonderful time.
Excellent.
So that was great.
All good stuff. Well, someone's bringing out 2 bats and a brand new set of pads. He's still in their, you think you'd get them out of the packaging, wouldn't you? And they're still in their polythene bag.
Oh dear. Roger Melly says, I'm a bit disappointed that one of you Davey twats hasn't acknowledged my role in today's proceeding. If it wasn't for my fucking pep talk at the start of the day, we'd have collapsed like a house of cards by now.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, of course.
I'm not sure if you've seen the pitch that they're playing on. I don't think they needed any kind of encouragement. They could have been batting left-handed with one hand.
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, the decision to bowl was bad. But I mean, what gets me is that they score 500. We're, 3-3-4 for 2 in no time whatsoever. And both sides were apparently thinking about bowling on this. It seems insane. Not that it seems to have mattered much, to be fair. But scoreboard pressure can make strange things happen. I mean,
and I think, I certainly am not meaning to sort of reduce the brilliance of Joe Root and the good batting of Ollie Pope. Joe Root has moved up to 12th on the all-time runs list. He's either equalled or just gone ahead of Sunil Gavaskar. Steve Waugh is only 800 runs ahead, so we might get that in the last session on day 5.
And it's also been a hell of a lot more fun watching Joe Root do this than watching Alistair Cook make $3 million in Melbourne.
No, that was fun. I was enjoying that, buddy.
That was a few days.
Yeah, that was a great game.
And I think of the what did they call them? The Fab Four. So Kane Williamson, Steve Smith, Virat Kohli, and Joe Root. The last 10 centuries in Test matches by the Fab Four have all been scored by Joe Root.
Oh, and I think Joe Root is. Cody's had a bit of a drop. I mean, Root had a drop off when he first became captain. 3.5 years. He was getting the same shit that Cody's getting now. He didn't score a ton for ages. Kept getting 70s and 80s, and pretty 50s, and then giving it away. Even greats have struggles, even though their struggles aren't as hard as anyone else's struggles, if you get what I mean. Bolt is going to come in at the other end, and it's pulled by Pope, and I think he's finally going to be out because that one's gone straight up in the air, and it has been caught. Polly Pope isn't going to get to his 150. He's tried to pull Trent Bolt, and he's got a big top edge. It's gone straight up in the air. He looks disappointed. Well, he probably is. He was thinking of 150, and it looks really easy to bat. He's probably left some runs out there, but you can't knock the guy for getting 145. It's a great innings. The crowd stands and applauds, and he has to go off, and he's not happy.
Those new pads were fucking useless.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? See? Fucking rubbish.
Throw them away, Ollie.
Yeah. I think the biggest way
he's receiving a deserved standing ovation from the crowd, though. He's a little bit disappointed. He's sort of shadow batting the shot that he should have played, but 145, really great effort. And it's I'm assuming that you mentioned this earlier. His first century scored north of the Thames.
We weren't up with that, Donna. That's what you're here for, mate. That's why you're here.
He must have scored somewhere north of the Thames. Has he only ever scored centuries in the southern counties? Oh dear.
Yeah, in first class centuries. It's his first one north of the river.
Wow, that's amazing. That is an incredible stat. And of course,
I'm certainly not going to claim it as mine because my geography is nowhere near that good. I definitely stole it off Twitter.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, Twitter's good for this kind of things. Mind you, you don't know if Twitter's actually 100% accurate either.
What? Oh,
do you mean that things that I read on the internet are not true?
I hate to tell you this, Donna. Man.
Fucking wash your mouth out there. Now, the only thing about that wicket is that it's only the fourth over of the brand new ball, which seems it's a little bit of a waste in that regard because it would have done well to hang in there for a bit longer until new ball had been worn off a bit.
Yeah, possibly. I imagine there could be a little bit of Brendan in the background though, going, get in there. I mean, they must be seeing it like a football. It's only a 20-minute break. And they're looking to crack on. I mean, they are looking to force something here, it looks like, for England, you have to say.
I imagine Brendan McCullum is very much of the play your natural game school. Which, as an Australian, I always find it amusing when people have a crack at David Warner when he goes out and they go, you play your natural game, rah, rah, rah. It's like, pipe down. Look at the figures of all of the other Australian openers over the past 20 years and just, she'll be right.
Finding openers is a hard game, man. Getting good openers who you can rely on for years and years and years is a bloody hard thing to find. First ball that Johnny B gets from Trent Bolt is short. And he stares him down, and there ain't no run. Shall I give him a jingle? There we go.
Johnny Best is smarter than the average besto. Johnny Best has been this good since daycare, so all put on your wigs and let the crimson hair flow. I want the Pope to give him his own large prayer. Oh, he can hit the sixes, although it's so dark. He'd even run a 10 at Bradford Park Avenue. No other Yorkshireman can compare. I tell you, Johnny Best is smarter than the average besto.
It's a good catch by Henry, wasn't it? Next ball.
Really good catch.
Left alone by Johnny B through the keeper, and it is a no run.
Is it my imagination, or is Brendan McCallum starting to look more like Adam Collins every day?
Yeah, there's a kind of resemblance. I have to say.
The coif, the hair.
Yes.
Is the giveaway.
Yeah.
I dare say that Brendan McCullum is slightly stockier than the wiry Adam Collins.
Very true. Probably more chilled as well. That's defended back down the track and there's no run. He is one of the most intense men I know. He gets on it, man.
I love the man.
Yeah.
I love the man.
He's a good lad.
I don't know where you find that much energy in life.
Well, this is it. It's tiring, man. It's just tiring.
Yeah, his encyclopedic knowledge of the Olympics fascinates me.
Bolt is in. He bowls it across Bairstow, who just dropped it out behind square on the offside, and there's no run. What fascinates me is that Jeff Lemon is one of the most chilled people I've ever met in my life as well. He's almost asleep half the time. That's how he comes across. And
the odd couple.
Yeah, real odd couple.
Yeah.
Adam is so intense, and yet they work really well. So there you go. England 334 for 3. Joe Root 109 on out. Ollie Pope's just got out. Good catch by Matt Henry down at long leg. Maybe a poor shot. Maybe it got up a little bit. Oh, and that's beating the outside edge. There's a late appeal by Blundell there. He seemed to catch it, and then everyone else was going up, so he thought he'd go up. And Bolt was kind of like, nah. There's a smile.
Just doesn't want to be left out.
No.
So that ball, it almost seemed to cut in, but miss the outside edge.
Yeah. It's weird, actually. On the TV, it looks like it might have taken it. And I love that by Bolt, because the Saturday Night Fever disco pointing down the track. Maybe this down, it hits the pad.
Yeah.
Strange.
No, Donnelly took no time at all to win over Jay Grover. He says, I have huge respect for any man who is so post-gig happy that he can treat my comments with the contempt they deserve.
Excellent. Just dropped out on the leg side by Joe Root, and they'll scoot through for a quick single.
So what are the odds on Bairstow being the first player in this whole match not to be caught?
Ooh, bold.
Oh.
Bold. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If we've got Salman Butt on the phone, we can find out.
Yeah. He's back in now, isn't he? He's in the establishment anyway, isn't he? Didn't he try to get a job on the Pakistan board or something? Or in the ICC?
Are you kidding?
The noise.
I'm going to refrain from any further comments.
But I did. Yeah, as a story I read, he was trying to get back into the establishment.
If you want to feel the money.
Was there an edge?
Involved.
Hang on.
No, it wasn't an edge. No.
Oh no.
The noise is it hit his back leg.
Yeah.
No, the ball's well away from.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's just a sound.
It is backside.
It's either that or his bat's hit his front pad at the point. Short from Southey to Bairstow. He's only faced 6 balls. I guess they'll try him out. I think you get a quick wicket here. It'd be good for them. I mean, England are battered well to get 335 for 3. I mean, considering how shit England have been for the last 2 years, I think this is only our 4th score over 300 since we were in India. First Test match in India. All those 2021? Is that a year and a bit ago? A long time ago, anyway. Southey is into Bairstow. And he just plays it out square on the offside point, and there's no run. And of course, we got 2 big scores in the West Indies on the flattest of flats pitches out there, but they weren't. The ball wasn't coming on. It was a lot harder to score runs out there. Although it was totally unthreatening. You were never going to get beaten for pace. It says that this pitch is as flat as a
Where's the 3rd test being played?
Let me just check that out. It could be the Oval.
What do they say? You should never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Well, yeah. Is that live? That is live.
That'll keep some of us very quiet.
And Johnny Bairstow clips that one sweetly off his pads. Out deep square leg. And now new batsman in. There's no one out there. So it will be 4 runs.
There's not one more for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
That was nice by Bairstow, just tucked off the hip.
Beautiful timing.
It's Headingley, Donna.
Headingley. Ooh, that could be interesting. Southey in. Similar sort of line, a bit straighter. And just get a little bit of movement in the air. Bairstow just tucks it to mid-wicket. And there is no run. 1 ball left in the over.
Where I grew up in Mount Waverley out in the southeastern suburbs, I grew up on Leeds Road, and next door to us was Headingley Street.
Nice.
So you're a Yorkshire fan from the start, were you?
Yeah. Someone a long time ago decided, well, probably was a Yorkshireman clearly, and brought those names over.
Speaking of Salomon Butt, the amount of money in cricket is epitomised by the rights for the IPL. They're under bid now. It's going to work out at £42,000 per ball.
Really? Fucking hell. That's cut hard by Bairstow. Into the ground and bounces it over the man at point. He's quite close in, and it races away down to the boundary for 4 runs.
2 + 2 is our man. 2 + 2 is our man.
One thing I've got to say about this game is, I don't know how big the boundaries are. I don't think they're particularly big at Trent Bridge, but I like the fact that the bloody outfield is hard and pacey. Even the Ashes down in Australia, the outfields were, it's a hot country. You expect it to be hard and racy, and they water it so much now in the outfield to stop the players getting injured. They're taking, on hot days, they're taking massive divots out of the turf because it's so kind of damp underneath. And I don't know, that might be something to do with the new drainage systems, so they have to water it more. But this outfield is quick, and it's nice to see.
Definitely the drainage on the Australian grounds is amazing. It's all of them have been upgraded, and they're brilliant. So they might need a little bit more. But whenever you see someone dig in, I just get the Simon Jones moment. And it's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, if you have harder turf,
really
you might get
scary.
some scrapes off the skin, but you might bash your knee and get a bruise, but you're not going to dig in and turn your knee or whatever. Last ball was just jabbed out behind square for a single, and there is no run. What are we looking at here? Leading run scorers. Yeah, Joe Root. Yeah, see, what's 10,100. So Steve Waugh's next, down at Border. Could do them within. Well, he could do Steve Waugh next summer, probably by next summer. Mind you, he scored 1,700 runs this year. Last year, if he does that again, he'll be virtually up with Mahela Jawar. He'd have overtaken Adam Border. That is defended out on the offside, and there's no run. And he's had a pretty good start to this year, to be fair. He scored, what, ton or two in West Indies? He scored 2 tons in this series. I don't know how many runs he scored this year. It'd be interesting to know that. Someone on Twitter can work it out.
So he's got 1 more test against New Zealand, 3 against South Africa at home, and then 3 in
and 1 against India.
And we got 1 against India. And the ones in, you'd imagine that if the decks are similar to what you boys played on, there'll be runs to be had there as well.
So 8 more tests.
Yep.
So it could take Steve
Waugh. Wow. Now that's come back a long way from Bolt. There's a big appeal. I think it's come back too far. Bairstow's got nowhere near it, I don't think. It's cut him in half and it's gone through to Blundell. Are they going to review it? They're having a chat about it. They're going to review. I don't think he got anything on that.
No.
It's come back a long way. I mean, it might caught his glove, but Bairstow doesn't play with a straight bat, so his bat's not in the right place. So it's a question of whether it came back and caught his glove.
He certainly didn't think he hit it.
No, little Johnny Bairstow gave a shake of the head very quickly. And of course, you can always trust the batters.
Yeah, of course.
When you say, did you hit that one that the guy behind you caught? Nah, I didn't hit it.
Well, the only thing it could have hit would be the underneath of his glove. His bat is actually nowhere near it. And if they heard something, it could be his glove. We're going to have a look here. Ball comes on. You know what? He's caught the underneath of the glove. I think that's going to be given out. Unless that noise is his... To me, it looks like it impacts his glove there.
So this is one of those ones where you need a professional third umpire who understands the technology who knows where the ball is when the spike comes.
Yeah.
That's got to be his glove.
Well, it could have been. The other thing it could have been was his elbow was rubbing against his shirt there at the same time, because he was obviously getting cramped for room.
He's given him.
No harm.
He has given him,
Yep.
yeah. Bairstow has been given out, and I don't think it can be anything else than glove.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Bairstow was right in that he didn't hit it.
No.
He gloved it.
He gloved it. And maybe he didn't feel it because it was his gloves.
He might well not have felt that.
Because it's only a graze on his gloves anyway. And I'm going to send them off. Give him a jingle.
I won't look back. By the time that I do, you'll be gone.
I really should have read this tweet from 6 minutes ago from O'Neill Harris. It says, "Bear, are you going under for Bairstow?"
No, I didn't. I did, but this morning I put money on. I thought the only bet worth having here is spawnily go for the way that England were going on. England were 9-1, which is probably a bit it's too cheap. Really. Yeah. But I thought I'll have a five.
O'Neill Harris said Pope's knackered, not used to batting for so long. Farong says the Bear enters, wicket. Jay Grover says, I've never met McCullum, but those whose opinion I respect say he's proper chilled, which is ironic because he looks like a Balkan gangster.
Yeah,
he does a bit. Fucking Leeds gets fucking everywhere. I proper hate Leeds.
Well, was that Jay Grover by any chance? The skipper comes out to the crease, and he sounds like this.
Ben? Ben Stokes.
Of course, this now could swing back the other way. If they could get Ben Stokes out here. We've still got folks to come, but England will have to be a little bit more circumspect. And as Stokes faces his first ball from Bolt, he'll be a bit G'd up by that. Defends it back down the track, and there's no run. Still good pitch to bat on.
We have some follow-on speculation. Are they going to take 6 for 8?
No. I mean, the other thing is Root could back. I mean, Root doesn't look like he's going to get himself get out, and then Pope didn't really. I mean, it'll be Root will get himself out, but he's a class player. He could, if Stokes settles in, things could rattle along again. I mean, you've always got a chance. So that's defended out the offside, and there's no run. You've always got a chance when you get a new batsman out. No matter how dead the wicket is, someone's got to get their feet moving and get their eye. And now it doesn't take a pro. As long as it takes an amateur, but you've probably got not them facing every ball, but you've probably got 4 or 5 overs and them getting to 8, 9, 10 runs before they'll feel they'll have their eye in. And if you can create a problem in that time, you've got a chance of getting them out. Ben Stokes clips down really sweetly, nice timing, out towards deep mid-wicket boundary. And there you go. You see the outfield's so quick. That's gone out to the boundary. Wow. Gives them 4 runs. Good timing.
Yeah.
That was a push.
Yeah.
That was off the back foot.
Yeah.
Just pushed. It was like he was in a one-day game wanting a single.
Yeah.
And just to drop it at his feet, and instead it went to the boundary.
He's got exquisite timing, Ben Stokes.
So, Dono, Farong wants to know whether you're at the Highbury Road end or the High Street Road end of Leeds Road, because he lived in Josephine Avenue for most of his childhood. Sesame Street was just around the corner.
Yes, I know how to get to Sesame Street. Slightly towards the High Street Road, we're near Gordon Street.
There you go.
The one that goes down to Mount Waverley Secondary College, or Mount High, as we know it.
It's a small world, and now Farong's sitting there in Bangladesh listening to us.
Yeah. Southey is into Root, who just lets that through the keeper in his own. He's on 111 off 133 deliveries. Pretty quick ton for a test match. And they're going back to look at this. The thing is, the spike at the beginning is quite high, which well, actually it's not. It's just when it comes on the screen. But I think he's definitely gloved that. Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah, I think he has, but that's what I was saying earlier. That's where you need not just a third umpire. There needs to be someone who understands the technology to know what the margin of error is for when the spike happens and what's on the screen.
Yeah. Next ball is driven by Root, and it's up to mid-off, and there's no run.
Now, what was the stat earlier about Ben Stokes? He needs 15 sixes to do something. I was listening, but not intently.
Get past McCallum's.
That's the one. Yes, that's the one. Yes. So, I reckon he can do it.
In this innings?
Yep.
Potentially.
4 stumps.
That'd be nice. Sandy gets one to come back into Joe Root. Takes a step down the track. Crampton for room. Hits the top of his thigh, which I think got inside his thigh pad because he's running past the stumps jauntily. But they get through for a leg bye.
Yeah, Stokes has got 93 sixes.
Oh, it's inside.
Sorry, go.
So Trent Bolt's getting a little bit of work done on his left shoulder down on the boundary, and he almost sort of flinched and hit the physio as the physio clearly hit a spot that was really quite sore and said, no, please don't do any more. So that'll be interesting to see if he's able to continue bowling at the same rate as he is now.
Yeah. Good spot. Maybe it's just tight muscles. After all, he's bowled so much in the IPL. Saudi is in, cut by Stokes, but only as straight to I think it's Devon Conway at point. He does a rugby pass to his cover, and there's no run.
Stokes has got 93 sixes, and McCullum had 107.
Okay. Doesn't Saudi have the most sixes or something? Or
I was going to say, how many does Saudi have?
Good question. I'll look it up.
I think that's one of my favourite stats is how far or how high he is on the stat.
Down the track comes Ben Stokes, slaps. I don't think it was the best timed shot, but clearly there's no one out in the outfield, and he just clouts it over the top of long mid off all the way out to the long off boundary for 4 runs. I think England have avoided the follow-on. They're 200 behind. Well, actually, if they're all out now, they could be made to follow on. They need one more run to avoid the follow-on.
Would you call that disdainful, the way that he came down the pitch and hit that? There was just...
Good word.
I think I mentioned it yesterday about how Mark Waugh would treat off-spinners. But Saudi's not an off-spinner. And Ben Stokes did what whoever it was yesterday did to Bracewell. Sorry, it must have been Bracewell doing it. But yeah, just wandered down and said, nah, you got nothing. I'm going to twat you back over your head.
Yeah, last ball of the over is defended up to mid-on. And there ain't no run. We should have a switch.
Yeah, we should. Just to let you know, Southey's got 75 sixes out of his 1,816 runs in Test cricket, which is pretty fucking remarkable.
How many?
75.
Oof. Percentage-wise, then he must be highest. I don't know, because him and Afridi always come up as top of some list. But clearly, they haven't got more sixes than Ben Stokes or Ben McCullum.
So I don't know who's on tweets next, but Josie Oak is the next. There you go. Josie Oak is the next one. Collapses on.
So Colin's coming in to do the socials. Bear and I are going to swap. I'm going to do my very best to do ball by ball, and Bear is going to bear with me whilst I call it 15 seconds behind what he sees.
Indeed.
As Trent Bolt is starting the over, and a short ball, and Root just pulls that one down to fine leg for a single. And they've avoided the follow-on.
Yeah. With ease, 6 wickets still to go as well. I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing that could screw this up is England sort of get to within sort of 50, 70 runs short of New Zealand, or just 50, 70 runs over, because then with this wicket, unless it does break up, this wicket doing what it's doing now, you can't imagine that anyone can actually push the advantage to create an opportunity to win. We'll have to wait and see.
Stokes leaves this one alone outside off stump. I think you're right. I think there needs to just be some interesting or bizarre or different tactics by the captains. I think 5 and 6 over spells are not the way to go. 2 over spells, just get the batters going. What's going on? Bring on a part-timer, put a weird field in, get Michael Clark out there to do some funky captaincy and weird field positions. But other than that, it's just going to be a bore fest. But this one's just pushed into the leg side by Stokes. Ben Stokes doesn't look troubled at all. He's only been out there for 8 balls. He's 8 off 8. Root 113 off 136, but he hasn't gone fast.
No. I mean, England would have to. I mean, 150 run lead wouldn't be nearly enough, but I don't know. I mean, it depends. This pitch has got to break up, do something. It doesn't look like it's going to.
This one's pushed into the offside by Stokes. They'll get an easy single there. There's again a little bit of hoop from Bolt, but that ball there was just not in the right position to do anything with that hoop. Have they erred in playing Henry instead of the composer Wagner?
Potentially. He does offer that option at the short stuff. He's very effective, and if you've ever watched Jared's video on Wagner,
isn't that fascinating?
It is fascinating.
This one's defended into the offside, no run.
In some respects, he has the right to be called the best bowler in the world at the moment, or something stupid like that. I can remember from his video.
Yeah, and it was the pace that he bowls. He shouldn't be doing what he is.
No, and everything's
wrong. But he
wrong.
is. The length that he bowls, he shouldn't be doing what he is.
No, everything's wrong about it. But hey, he gets those wickets, and he gets them when they're needed as well.
Yeah. As Bolt comes in for the last ball of the over, ball into Root, who lets that one go outside off stump. England 355 for 4, trailing by 198. Root's 113. Stokes is on 9. Colin, I've not met you before. Hello, I'm Dono. Do we have anything on the socials?
As the aforementioned, Woy Palm saying the collapse is on. England all out, over 100 short. New Zealand then score a couple of 100, and England all out on final day for 150. So get your bets in. That's what
it's the English optimism that I really enjoy.
Oh, tell me about it. I've been coming this for years.
So we're going to have Tim Southey continuing, even though I've just said that they need to make more changes to the bowling and only have 2 over spells, but he'll come around the wicket to the left-handed Stokes, who just defends this with ease into the offside.
I'd like to see something created so that a result was possible. I mean, I don't think...
Do England care, though? England are 1-0 ahead in the series. They've got no real incentive to try to win when they see that this pitch is probably not going to give them the opportunity to.
No, but I guess they'll, you go out, you bat positively. If things go right from here, with the ease of the pitch, maybe they can get to I don't know. Look, if they can get to sort of 50 runs behind today, and these 2 are still in, say, tomorrow, and they settle in tomorrow morning, they could maybe bat till tea and have a 200 or 300 run lead, and have, they can't lose the game then, because obviously they're batting second already, so they could possibly have four sessions to try and bowl New Zealand out. I mean, it seems really unlikely, to be fair, but
this next one's squeezed out into the offside. It's off the outside edge. They're going to come back for 2, and my stream is caught up, and this next one's defended into the offside. Did I just see young Johnny Bairstow doing a book of Sudoku in his hands?
That'd be a bit.
How long's he been out for? 4 minutes, and he's already got his shoes off, feet up on the balcony, and he's doing some Sudoku. Coach Brendan McCullum's having a chat to him. He's having absolutely none of it. He's like, no, I need to figure out where this 7 goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that's a bit too much for Johnny B, to be fair. Sudoku.
This next one is angled in to Stokes, who defends it into the offside. No run. We saw in the Australian summer that Pat Cummins, I think he was a cryptic crossword man.
Ooh, they're hard, man.
Yeah.
I don't like
There were
cryptic
various
crosswords.
times where people were looking over his shoulder and giving him sort of suggesting what it might be, and I think he politely just told them, "This is my cryptic crossword. You will leave me alone, and I will complete it." Much like I'll win matches for us, I will
Exactly.
complete the cryptic crossword.
And I'm also skipper, so just go away.
Southey in again, and this one is flicked into the leg side, and that's going to go all the way to the boundary for 4. Great shot by Ben Stokes, wandered across his stumps, but easily to the boundary for 4.
That was a beautiful shot, wasn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, we did the GPL this morning. I would say what they came out in 90 for 1 this morning, so it's 271 runs already in the day, and there's another hour and 50 minutes to go. It's gonna be close to a day of 400 runs.
Was it 271 was about the lowest guess in the GPL, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And then the
something
highest
like
was about 350.
Yeah, something like that. The lowest was
This next
280.
one's defended into the offside for no run.
The lowest was 287. So I haven't quite got there yet.
287.
The highest is 353, and that'll be our man Messages. 353 might not be enough. This could be nearly a 400 run day, which would be quite good for the crowd, eh? Get to see a day like that. Not if you're a New Zealander, I suppose, but I guess you get to enjoy the day at the cricket. We had to
So
put
they're just showing a replay of Ben Stokes on that last delivery, and not only did he go back and across, he went back and back. He's almost standing on his stumps. How deep he is in his crease. He's probably batting on middle and off, and then he goes right back towards off stump, which is why he was able to flick that one into the leg side so easily. But he's given himself so much time to play these balls.
Yeah, and the pitch, I don't know. I mean, I haven't thought the pitch looked, Lords looked really slow. This pitch doesn't look, maybe it is slow, but it's coming, it's got a nice bounce. It seems to come onto the bat nicely. Lords.
The first ball of Trent Boltsover has gone hard, like Joe Root left that one alone, and it went through to the keeper, taking it above his shoulders. Bit of a hoop in, but yeah, it's quite a bit of bounce.
I would describe the bounce in this pitch as predictable.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. It's predictable. It's quite a nice bounce. That's quite a nice pace. Not quick, but not slow. And it just seems to slide onto the bat really nicely. And as I said, the outfield's really quick. It's quite nice to see run rate like this in a day, and the game moving on at a pace.
Root leaves the next one alone outside the off stump. No run. Yeah, I think the second ball of the day, maybe the third ball of the day, was left on length. And it pitched about middle and off, but it went well over the stumps. And so the batters have got confidence that they're able to read it on length.
Yeah.
As we've just got a beautiful overhead shot of this ground, and it is not an oval in any sense of the word, as this next one is defended into the offside. Is this the ground where in the One-Day World Cup, Sheldon Cottrell took that amazing catch on the boundary, put his hand up, and the reason he could do that is because he was running dead straight along the straight edge of the boundary?
It could, I don't know if it was this ground, but I do remember that catch. It could be. I might have even been there, but my brain's a bit frazzled and I can't remember. That's where I met Jeff and Adam were there too.
They did add that odd stand which would be on the leg hand side, which is completely straight, which seems very odd for the as you see there in the shot.
Probably saves money on the architecture fees.
This next one swings back into Root and he defends that one, but not necessarily as easily as he has previously. There's just that bit of hoop that Trent Bolt is getting. He's just got to get the ball in the right spot. I think he's probably trying to get it to seam back in as well as get that little bit of swing, because the swing is not going to worry Joe Root, but if he can get one to jag back off the seam, that's where it's going to cause troubles like it did with Johnny Bairstow. He's
Yeah.
on his way in again, and that one is on the pads and just flipped into the leg side, and they'll take an easy single.
You want that with you got to get that to happen now in this spell, really, because give it another 15 overs and you probably won't be doing it as much. The ball will get older, and it will be troublesome.
Did they take the new ball bang on 80?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 10 overs old.
Yeah. No, it's
Perfect time for Jameson to come in.
Yeah, and fascinating to see what role they want him to play. Like, will they try to get him to bowl short like Trent Boult has just done to Ben Stokes, and he has just whomped that down to the fine leg boundary for 4. He moves on to 19 scores, 366 for 4.
And the man in a pink shirt on a boundary was hoping it would just plop into his hands. But it didn't.
I'll move on to tweets. Farong, South Africa 149 to win. Pitch is getting low bounce at times. Would the Bear be wagering on the Proteas?
They're playing. It's India, isn't it? In India.
India in the T20.
Yeah. What was that? How many off? How many?
149 to win. It didn't say alpha how much. I'm guessing full 20.
Full 20. Yes. That should be a victory, surely.
My betting syndicate really hopes that India hold on.
I'm getting it from Jay Grover. Oh fuck, Collins on socials. Piss off.
Jay.
Collins on socials, and Matt Henry is on to bowl. So just as we've talked about Matt Henry, should he have been there or should they have had Wagner? He's going to come in and see if he proves us right or wrong. This first ball driven into the offside, but straight to the fielder at short cover, no run.
I think this is for Stokes.
You think?
For Stokes to either go, right, I'm going to try and have you, or basically get caught in the boundary.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that. I mean, they might as well do it. So in South Africa got chased 148. They're 28 for 2 after 4.5 overs. So what, 120 or 15? Yeah, they should do that, shouldn't they? You never know, though. It could be a horror wicket. That's really not easy to score on.
This next one's left alone by Joe Root. Just watches it through to the keeper. We're getting a lot of aerial shots of. I'm assuming is it Notts Forest home ground next to the ground?
Notts Forest and Notts County are right next to the. It's the equivalent of Sydney and the Sydney football pitch being right next to it.
Next to the Sydney Cricket Ground and the Sydney Football Stadium.
Yeah.
Yes. This one's defended, and they're going to take a single here. They move on to 367 for 4. Root 115. Stokes on 19. What I like about Stokes is his ability to play at a whole range of different rates. So we saw the Headingley test. I think he was 1 or 2 not out of 50 deliveries overnight before he just went absolutely bunter the next day. And he did seem to go through a period where he was batting very, very slowly at the start and couldn't quite go any quicker. This one is left through to the keeper for no run. But hopefully he's figured out now that there is a happy medium between full defence and full attack, and he's 19 off 17 at the moment.
I don't know if that's the case. Ben just does what Ben feels like on a Ben day, you know. I mean, in that last test, in the second innings, I mean, he kept charging down a wicket. I mean, he got bowled by Colin McGondon. And even after that, he didn't stop doing it. He clearly thought that was the way he wanted to play. It was all a bit insane.
Speaking of charging down the wicket, he's just done the same thing to Matt Henry, and he's twatted that through the offside, but to the fielder on the boundary. Just a single.
Even in that first test, the other way he got out, when he could have safely just seen them home, but instead tried to do a paddle over the top of the wicketkeeper, and then just an odd period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ben does what Ben does.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. And I think you've
I
just
like
got to
it.
let him play. Well, that's why I think he's dropped himself down to number 6, so he has more license to be like that, really.
Henry, last ball of the over, and this one's chopped down into the pitch. No run. A little bit of extra bounce. I'm not sure if it cut back in to Joe Root. He's certainly looking at his bat as if it was the bat's fault, not the technicians. End of the over, 368 for 4. Yeah, I think that having Ben Stokes come in at 6 from a non-English fan perspective is such a better place for him to be. Yes, he could bat at 3, he could bat at 4, he could bat anywhere, but my lord, him coming in now, 4 for 350 when he did, or whatever it was, he can just take the game away from you. But also coming in at 4 for 30, he has that ability to say, no, I'm going to stop the rot, and later on, then I'm going to go.
Yeah, and he's a very technically good batsman. And he loves smashing it around the park, which is always good fun to see.
I think it's just the way he gets out. It can look very silly at times.
Yeah, of course.
Considering you expose the tail more or less just after getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is the issue with him coming in at 6, is that folks onwards is not necessarily the strongest 7 to 11. This one is pushed into the leg side, and they're going to get a few runs here because it's gone past the fielders, and as we know, this outfield is quite swift. Southey runs that, Jamieson runs that one down. They take 2, Stokes onto 22, score 370 for 4.
Yeah, hopefully he'll get a big score today and come out tomorrow morning, smash it around. I mean, when he got that his highest test score in South Africa, I mean, that was a crazy game. That was, we scored 600, they scored 600, and then we nearly that was a game that actually we nearly managed to screw up. I mean, they got ahead of us. I think we scored 600 and something, and they scored 600 and a bit more. It was only a lead of about 80 they got. We got ourselves in a bit of a trouble on that last day. We ended up, I think, about 6 down, and the rain came down, and we weren't, in a very good position. And there was still half a session and a bit after tea to go, so we could have got ourselves all out, and they could have chased it down quite quickly. And the rain came down. So funny things can happen in matches like this, You think you put a match-winning score on, and then it all goes tits up if the opposition gets to you.
Stokes is hit on the back pad. The previous delivery pushed into the offside, but this one has cut back in. It was a scrambled seam delivery, and it's hit him on the... Thankfully, he's wearing a thigh pad on his back leg, because otherwise that was giving a significant bruise. Almost got him in the cock.
Yeah, don't want that. That's painful. And they all have double boxes, don't they? Who is it? I can't remember. Someone told a story about someone who's got a double box.
Well, in again. This one's defended on the offside. My very first cricketing memory of someone getting hit in the box was, I think it was Tausif Ahmed from Pakistan got hit by Craig McDermott, and the box split. Ooh. So it opened, and then it closed, and it closed on one of his nuts. Oh, I'm looking forward. I'm not sure if you were...
No, I'm doing that to what you're saying. That's pain,
Oh,
man.
good.
I knew that story. I knew what was coming there.
Jesus.
Bolt on his way into Stokes. Who lifts it straight over the bowler's head. It's got to go for 4. That is a shot of a man in form. The ball was too short to twat back over his head, but Ben Stokes just wandered down the pitch and lifted it. He didn't strike it, he lifted it over the infield, and that's gone for 4. That is a beautiful shot.
It is a good shot. I was kind of doing the same thing, but... Did he end up in hospital then? Presumably he got carted off the ground.
I'm not sure. I remember calling out for the trainer, and not sure what the trainer could necessarily do other than say, there, I hope you're okay.
That's kind
Bolt finishing his over into Stokes. This one is cut through the offside. That is a gorgeous shot all the way to the boundary for another 4. Stokes on to 30. England 378 for 4 after 92.
Best do some tweets before Jay gets upset again. Messages putting a video of Harry Brook hitting his ninth 50 of the summer from 10 games, saying a warning to Bairstow and Crawley.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if Bairstow is he's got Soddle here, okay, the position actually would have been good if he'd have got in. He had a chance to get himself a ton. Was still that far behind. He could have got himself a good-looking ton and got England to safety himself. And I want to see Harry, but I don't know anything about him. I've not even seen him bat, so I don't really watch county cricket. But by all accounts, he's a good bat. He's doing good things. And if Bairstow isn't, and having just come back from a pretty average IPL season, maybe he should be given a shot at that number 5 spot.
Leah is saying, I'm glad for Bairstow that Sudoku only uses single-digit numbers, so he can enjoy it too.
Oh, I like that.
O'Neill Harris, it's quite to see a run rate like this during the day, says the Bear now. Wasn't saying that during the Ashes. A bit of a low blow, but...
Well, no, but the run rates in the Ashes generally weren't that high. I don't seem to remember. I think.
No, they were relatively low below.
They
3
were.
and over.
It was quite a grinding.
Certainly
Ashes.
when England were batting, they
were.
were.
Certainly fucking were. Yeah, but they were a lot of the time when Australia were batting as well. We just
Henry into Joe Root, and that's defended into the offside. Now, Joe Root may have made a fatal mistake here. He saw Ollie Pope change his pads and go out. I think Joe Root has had, I don't know what he's had a change of. I thought he might have had a change of bat, but he's now looking at the bat and it's got a few cherries on it. So he might have just got some running repairs to the bat. He doesn't have new pads on. Maybe new gloves. Don't change your gear. You saw what happened to Ollie. His next one, and he just cuts this one through the offside. It's going to go all the way to the boundary for 4. Fuck off, Donaldson. You don't know what you're talking about.
I knew that 15 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's a beauty of us seeing it before.
Yeah, it was a nice shot. England.
It wasn't quite a cut shot. It wasn't quite a one-day glide. It was quite wide, and he just sort of dabbed it down through the third man region.
Yeah, I think he's got a crack on the inside edge. I think he was getting some tape on his bat actually. I think they've taped it rather than changed it. He obviously clearly likes that one.
This one's on the legs and pushed down to the leg side boundary. They're going to get a single. Matt Henry, I don't think has his radar quite right just yet.
Well, they're striving, aren't they? But these two, Stokes has now got his eye in. He's 30 off 24 for crying out loud. And we're still well behind.
170 behind.
They're not playing like
I
mean, they're playing like they're ahead. I suppose it's a good positive play.
Stokes to face Henry, and this one is short outside the off stump, but again belted through the offside. But they've got a sweeper out now. They've realised that Matt Henry can't bowl where he wants to bowl, so they've got a couple of sweepers out, and that's just the single. And Matt Henry is either having a chat to himself, the little man on his shoulder, or someone just out of screen. I think it's himself.
Yeah.
He was enjoying the conversation. He was having a bit of a laugh with himself.
Yeah, he's gone a bit mad. He's gone for a fair few runs. He's gone for 114 in 22 overs.
He comes in again to Root, and that one is driven into the offside, but straight to the fielder. No run there. Root with a wry smile.
I mean, he's gone for... No, is that out? No, it's not. Sorry. Oh, shit, sorry.
That's right, I'll tell you in about 12 seconds' time. Joe Root is on 120. Last ball of Matt Henry's over. Something's going to happen. I've got a feeling. As this one is down the leg side. Is he burgled? I'm going to say he's not. But that was a terrible over by Henry.
Yeah, I was getting a bit panicky there. I thought he had for a minute there. Just feathered that down the leg side. But he hasn't. We'll have one more over, and then we'll have a change. Jacob's going to come back. Oh, I've got to let him in.
On tweets, Jay Grover, I don't really need reminders of my autistic muppetry. It's fairly obvious in day-to-day life. When I do I look at the cryptic crossword and get both humbled and confused.
Cryptic crosswords really confuse me. They're one thing I've never got the hang of. I mean, people have tried to explain them to me, and if I do them with other people, I can sometimes, something will pop into my head. But generally, I feel really stupid when I do a cryptic crossword.
Warren Davies, I'm fine with rectangular cricket grounds. I'm against ginger cricketers playing Sudoku while wearing dirty socks.
If the socks were clean, it would be fine.
Yeah. I do my
We're
word
gonna
a
have
little
Kyle Jamieson take over.
And
the very tall Kyle Jamieson, very angular, very beautiful man.
Yeah, he's a big
16 overs, none for 60 he's got. He's coming in to bowl to Ben Stokes. Will he just have a short ball barrage? No, Stokes is going to wander down the creech and absolutely bosh it over his head for 6. 14 more to go to get to McCullum.
Yeah, well, there's one of them. There's a pretty big hit as well. It's gone a few rows back. He's just having a lot of fun out there, isn't he, Stokesy? Feels free. And we're still, as you say, 160 odd runs behind.
Don't need a sighter to see what Kyle Jamieson's doing with the ball. Just take 3 steps down the pitch and dispatch it. Oh, I got to say, much like the 6 that went into someone's beer the other day, the crowd here are terrible when the ball goes in. I don't know if they're not watching or they just go, I just don't want anything.
I think the first thing, they're sitting there nattering to each other, aren't they? And someone's shouting, ball! Ah!
I know what I'd be saying if I was Jameson. I'd be saying, if you're that confident of hitting me that quickly, how about you take a yard outside your crease then, instead of right back on your stumps?
And I reckon Ben Stokes will be saying, let's just watch the replay of that last one, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Take that. Yeah.
There's rarely a time where a direct sledge like that is a good idea, because one of them is going to come out on top. It's like the Mitchell Johnson and Jimmy Anderson footage, which is hilarious. It's defended into the offside. Joe Root wants a run. Ben Stokes doesn't. Root gets back quite easily. So yeah, Mitchell Johnson, I think, was at the non-strikers end as Jimmy Anderson was bowling, and he made a stupid comment, and then the next ball Jimmy Anderson came in and got a wicket, and he just turned around to Mitchell Johnson and just went, what, mate? What? It's just dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Mitch got a bit of revenge, though.
Yeah, sometimes it does work. It's not always the case that we've seen plenty of the times when you say something to a batsman and they try to prove a point and then get out because of it.
Yeah.
Mind the windows, Tino.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just although Jamieson pulled up.
Something's going on here. Kyle Jamieson's done.
Oh, he is.
He's handed. Yeah, so we've got someone come in and hand in their hat to the umpire. Kyle Jamieson is just walking off. He's got a little pat on the back. He doesn't look overly injured. Like, he's not favouring a leg or an arm or something. So I'm not quite sure what's happened. He's strolling off, but he's definitely done for the afternoon. He doesn't look happy.
Yeah, I don't know what that could be. Maybe it's intercostal or something like that. He doesn't seem to be doing any of that.
The grunt muscle.
Yeah.
Trent Bolt is going to finish off the over. A handy bloke to give the ball to for 3 deliveries. He'll be bowling to Ben Stokes, and that is a short ball, and Stokes hits that down to fine leg. They'll take a single. Stokes onto 38, score onto 391 for 4.
Of course, Bolt was just having his shoulders massaged not that long ago as well, either, wasn't he?
Yep.
They could all fall apart. Who are they going to bowl in the third test even? If Jamieson's out, Colin de Grondom's out. Imagine if Bolt gets injured. Where do they go to?
Surely they've got some. Like they've got. Yeah, like, so what's his name? Bracewell was a wicketkeeper who became a part-time off spinner. I'm sure they've got a wicketkeeper who's now a part-time medium pacer. They can bring him in, and maybe a wicketkeeper who's now an opening bowler.
Well, they'd have
You
to
can never have too many wicketkeepers.
No, yeah. They'd have to be.
You don't need to say that to English.
This one's pushed into the leg side by Root.
What did England
They get a
have at one
single
point?
there.
4 wicket keepers in one team.
Yeah, we did. We had Billings, Billings, Butler, Bairstow, and probably Folks or someone like that. Someone else, I don't know. Just trying to think. Lockie Ferguson, does he not play Test cricket anymore? He's not in this squad, I know that much. Does anyone know? I don't know.
Not sure.
Should be quite handy. Maybe he's not very good at Test cricket. I'm sure he did play.
He's very good at the short form.
Yes, I know, very good. But I'm sure he played longer form as well.
Last ball of the over is a short ball, and it's sort of left alone, but sort of kind of played at by Stokes. He looks back and gives a bit of an ooh. End of the over, 392 for 4. England trailing by 161. That is me done. I do realise that I've been on 2 days, and both days I talked about a testicular injury.
That's
so
fine. This is
I
gorilla.
look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow and finding a different broken testicle to talk about.
Well, that would be a good thing. We shall see you tomorrow, Donu. Thank you very much for coming on.
Off as well.
I hope you enjoyed your gig. It sounds like it was good. We're going to go. So, Jacob's coming on. And Messers is coming on. And Jason is coming on. And I'm going to go off.
Thank you.
Afternoon to you all.
Yeah, good afternoon / evening, gents, as we have a small wait as Ben Stokes leaning on his bat handle. They're just figuring out who's going to bowl as well. Jameson coming off in his last over, as we saw. It'll be Bracewell, the spinner.
Stokes, the underused spinner.
Stokes will be interested.
Because he should have been used before the paltry 2 or 3 overs he got before the new ball.
He's got
England will go to what?
Jason.
Sturdily keeps wicket, knowing how the Kiwis pick teams, he'll be just 1 of 5.
I agree with you, he should have been used more, but he has had 6 overs, and I think he bowled those all in one spell. He's on to Root, who's on 121 from 153. In comes Bracewell, and Root's launched that into the leg side. He's going to take 1 bounce and go for 4 at the deep mid-wicket boundary.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary,
First ball by Bracewell, and Root just extends the front foot out, takes a little trot down the pitch, and whips it over mid-wicket for a lofted 4.
There's no respect there at all. No, you don't do that to his first ball.
As in comes Bracewell, and Root looks almost like he wanted to go again there. He's driven that towards Long On, who is back, and they'll just get through for a single. Well, there aren't too many spinners in the world game who Joe Root, based on his record, needs to have a lot of respect for, and Michael Bracewell, almost called him Doug Bracewell there. Michael Bracewell is presumably near the bottom of the list of spinners that Joe Root needs to give undue care to.
I think you've been
Bucks given nil.
I think you've been close to calling him John Bracewell rather than Doug Bracewell. Given how he...
Doug was his cousin, isn't he?
Doug's his cousin. I think John is his uncle.
Yeah. They've had 2 uncles and cousin, and now Michael's playing, and he's facing up to Stokes, who's on 38, and Stokes goes for the big slog sweep, and well, I think we know where this is going. Oh, it's bounced once actually, and it's not going to go to the boundary. I thought he got really good hold of that, and he's bounced once and been recovered by Trent Bolt. You'll have to excuse the slight delay. Bear's going to restart the feed as we have a little bit of jumpiness on it, but I thought that was going for 6. It did in fact bounce short of the boundary, but Stokes has got 2 out of that. I think he's gone to 40 as Bracewell in again, and again Stokes with a big hoik. That one looks like he has got hold of it. Yes, he has. Back down the ground, and it will be one of these. Yes, one of those. A 6. A huge 6. Ben Stokes and Joe Root upping the aggression against the spinner here, and I think Jameson's a big loss for New Zealand.
Yeah, they're in the shit, actually. A bit.
Stokes has a taste for finger spinners. He has very little respect for them and likes the big slog sweep for 6. That one was more of a heave than a sweep. But in comes Bracewell. And again Stokes high in the air. Big slog sweep. That was the proper sweep shot. And oh, he's been caught! Trent Bolt's come round and Stokes has got himself out on 46.
I have the background for that.
One big shot too many from Ben Stokes, and Michael Bracewell has picked up his maiden wicket, in Test cricket as Stokes holds out to Trent Bolt in the deep.
Well, this was actually an advertising ploy by Guerrilla Cricket for us to encourage you to go to our merchandising store at redbubble.com/Guerrilla Cricket and get yourself a Shit Gets Wicket t-shirt or mug or shower curtain. Any merchandise with Shit Gets Wickets on will remind you of this occasion.
I think that's a bit of a lapse from Stokes. That's a top edge. It's the longer boundary out in that direction, and he's not got hold of it at all. I know he was trying to up the scoring rate, but surely, you just knock that one for a single or something, come back and feast on the next over of Michael Bracewell's floaty spin.
What is the point? He's won the over. He doesn't need to. Just need to make sure he's there at the beginning of the next over to do the same again. It was one shot too many. It's a thing we sometimes associate with Ollie Pope being overconfident too soon in an innings. I think this is the case of Stokes in this occasion as well.
And that puts the initiative back to New Zealand, because now it's just Ben Stokes before what is a relatively long tail. I mean, Jack Leach can stay in, and on a flat pitch like this, anything's possible. Matt Potts fancies himself an all-rounder. Stuart Broad can whack him and bash him, but realistically, the last batsman in this lineup is in now, and England are still trailing by over 100.
Yeah, I think we could say now that that's limited England's potential to probably somewhere getting close to 50 to the New Zealand score would be classed as a good result now, I think.
Yeah, whereas before that wicket, if Stokes could have stayed in and caused a bit more havoc, it was probably sort of looking at parity, maybe a slight lead by sort of middle of the afternoon session tomorrow.
Parity by the end of today it would have been. I mean, they've got another 20-something overs. They were scoring 7 and over. That would have got parity.
That would have done it. Maybe they'll be looking more towards sort of after lunch on day 4 to try and, if they get anywhere near it, if they start to get near it, they might look at after lunch on day 4 to try and stage a declaration, but it limits England's options somewhat, that.
Should we do some tweets whilst the bear does his magic?
Let us do that. So MX Grand Theft Auto has sent us a lovely picture from what could only be an English beach, lots of lovely pebbles and things, of legs stretched out, sunning themselves under the clouds, saying, tune in after being at the beach all day. England not collapse, shocker. Warren says they're getting their money's worth out of whoever they paid, whatever they paid the drone operator. Josie Oak says, why isn't Chris Wokes playing?
Injured, I think.
Warren says he's writing for the Smacksman working title TM. That's a reminder of a great publication you can get if you're a Patreon. Roger Melly say, Ray the Box story. I've heard Bumble Lloyd tell a similar story about an encounter with Jeff Thompson, except the split box closed on his John Thomas. Or if you want to make it funnier, you could say it closed on his Johnson, which adds a certain frisson to it.
Well, Ben Folks is at the crease now, his chest guard protruding from his shirt, and we'll jingle him up as maybe after this ball, because Bracewell's about to bring him. Oh no, here we go.
And his name's Ben Folks. He can keep wicket at least 9 times as well. Ben Folks, you're the best.
Catchy jingle there for Ben Folks, averaging 28, just a tick over 28 in Test cricket, and part of that that decisive partnership with Root in the last Test match. Made a very good account of himself, and probably did a lot of good for his place there, for reasons I'll get back to after Michael Bracewell flings in one of his off-spinning darts. Here he comes. Nice bit of loop, actually, and that's a bit too straight, though, and tickled down the leg side by Folks. Fine leg will pick up, and he'll get off the mark with a single. No, he won't. It's a leg bye. I thought he got something on that. It's a leg bye, and the end of Bracewell's maiden wicket over. Not wicket maiden wicket. And 95 overs done. England 406 for 5.
It's a long way for a leg bye, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It certainly did. Neil Harris says, you're not stupid, Bear. What you've done with Guerrilla Cricket Radio is amazing. I'd suggest you do not do too much maths on commentary while high, but we absolutely love you. I think that's probably good advice, Neil. Josie Oak said, Jamison going off hurt? Did that 6 hurt his feelings? And Jay says, has Ferguson totally abjured Test cricket? I think he has, actually. Jay says, oh, sorry, Bear. Leah says, Mitch's comment was, why are you not chirping now, mate? Not getting any wickets. To which Jimmy replied, getting a wicket next ball. Still, it was the 13-14 Ashes, so I give this one to Mitch. Yeah, that was painful for you, wasn't it, Jason Jacob?
Well, it wasn't too painful for us. We quite enjoyed that little moment.
I loved watching Mitchell Johnson at his best. He was a fearsome bowler.
As Folks gets a little edgy, streaky out towards the point fielder, and they won't get a run. I think Folks did a lot of good for his place, actually, in the last match. There was a little bit of talk that if he didn't make good, they might give the gloves back to Bairstow and try and pick Brook in that way. As in comes Henry, and that's a cut shot by Ben Folks, and it's gone over the slips, and it will run away for one of these.
2 + 2 is our man.
Well, the last memory of before that Ben Folks innings was of him running himself out needlessly in the West Indies. So he had to erase that as soon as he could to get a positive impression in the selector's eyes, I think.
Absolutely. Now it's Bairstow who's in the danger zone, coming in on a flat pitch like this and not making a good score, playing T20 cricket in the last game and getting himself out really in classic Bairstow fashion, as Folks defends back up the pitch. And I personally feel at this point, with Bairstow's record of inconsistency and the fact that Brook hasn't really made a single figure score in the championship for 2 months, it's probably time to give him a go on current form.
Yeah, it's pretty thin ice at the moment for both Crawley and Bairstow.
Yeah.
As there's left alone by Folks outside the off stump. Yeah, the only problem for Crawley is that the replacement openers either have already been tried or are Ben Compton, who have only been doing their magic for this season, and they've got a lot of faith in Crawley, whereas with Bairstow, he's 32, isn't he? 31, 32, and there's a young player who, yes, has only been great this season. He averages 35 elsewhere, as Folks leads again. Yeah, his first class average is 35, but he's a young player, in the form of his life, whereas Compton is older than Crawley and only has this season as a kind of fantastic season.
But it's seeing it as more a traditional opener. It's more temperamentally suited to opening than perhaps Crawley is, who has probably too much of a wide-ranging and aggressive range of shots to open consistently well.
Perhaps that, and also his technical issue with his bottom hand being too dominant. As that zips past the outside edge of Folks, I think he did play at that, drew his bat inside the line, and Henry ends his over. England 410 for 5. He'd usually be extremely happy about if New Zealand hadn't made 550.
Mark says, Dono coming back tomorrow to talk more bollocks then, apparently. He is indeed. I noticed that, again, we'll have 4 people from Australia tomorrow on air with you, so it's a intercontinental broadcast. O'Neill Harris says, Lockie Ferguson is a bit injury prone, not ready for 5-day cricket. It's a bit dangerous to bowl fast. The body will break down eventually. Leah says, speaking of testicles, they don't make enough dresses and skirts that don't require you to carefully tuck your balls. You need to get a custom-made box, I suspect, Leah. Jay says, New Zealand is an Englishman united by climate, language and weird distrust of spin bowlers.
Absolutely, as Bracewell is the spinner and has bought himself quite rightly another over. Joe Root tries to tuck him to the leg side and gets no run as Bracewell fills off his own bowling. But it is a fascination of mine, the suspicion with which England and New Zealand treat spin, as Root does drive that to long on and will get a single. Yeah, that there is an institutional suspicion, and Kane Williamson has been guilty of it actually.
This point was made by Jeremy Coney earlier, and he also made the point that Axar Patel wouldn't have got his 10 for if Kane Williamson had been captain, because it was one of the occasions like this test where he's injured and not out of the team, and Tom Latham is the captain instead. He's
Absolutely.
much more spin friendly.
Yeah, and Joe Root had a bit of it as well. He didn't quite back the spinner, which, you know, it's kind of a bit of both, because Jack Leach never produced a lot to make Root back him, but Root never gave him the chance to. And he's got more backing here from Stokes. He's been given more overs, obviously on a very flat pitch, and he's also, you know, been pretty quickly ushered back into the team with no talk of Matt Parkinson retaining his place after being a concussion sub. But
I wonder how difficult it is after you've had an outstanding spinner in a team. Sorry.
As Folks has used his feet, clipped that beautifully through the leg side, and it's going to the deep mid-wicket boundary for a 4. There's no one in the chair to do the jingling. So carry on, Betty Jez.
Well, I was just thinking, after you've had an outstanding spinner in the team, like Vittori, like Warne, like Graham Swan, to have someone else step up with an expectation they're going to do the same thing without actually giving them the time to get into that position means that a lot of people are going to be seen to be failing when in fact all they're doing is still trying to learn their craft properly. So it is really difficult. You need a captain who understands the process of learning for someone like that.
As Folks defends Bracewell. I think another issue is that Leach is quite a defensive spinner. He's not a big turner of the ball, and he bowls line and length a lot, as Folks defends again. Graham Swan was talking about this morning on Sky, in fact, and how the approach to spin is wrong. You look at an attacking spinner like Amar Virdi, who plays for Surrey, but he's playing in the second team because he leaks a few too many runs, and they don't need him because of their good pace attack in this portion of the county championship. As Folks, again, back and defend, no run. Matt Parkinson, an attacking spinner, being criticised for being kind of too slow, even though he turns the ball big. And while he didn't impress necessarily at Lords, that was day 2 at Lords against the slope on a green pitch. Like, what's he going to do? You know, he'd have been very interesting on a pitch like this in the next innings, as it's starting to receive some turn, even from Bracewell. As that's the end of the over, with England 4-15 for 5.
Josie Oak says Bracewell gets a wicket based on the principle of shit gets wicket. O'Neill Harris says Bracewell's father, 3 uncles and cousin are cricketers according to Cricinfo. Varong says back to my luxurious 52 square foot sauna with leaking roof after a tea stall session. Nice to see the national fruit of Bangladesh in the market today, first time for the season. What is the national fruit of Bangladesh? Well, I know this because he's told me before. Does anybody else know?
In a moment, as Henry bowls and Root gets it off his pad, there's an appeal, quite a big appeal, and it looks like they're considering a review. Tom Latham is saying maybe it was high, maybe it was leg side. It looked a little leg side and a little high on first look, but they have reviewed it. Quickly, Jez, tell us the national fruit of Bangladesh, because I'm dying to know.
It's the jackfruit.
The jackfruit.
I thought it was a jackfruit.
Well, you see, you got to commit. Yeah, it's no good thinking it. You've got to commit to it, Chase.
As we'll have a look at the review here. We've got the front on replay. It looks like it just jags and it's hit above the knee roll, but Root is quite far back in his crease. I think that's just going over the top of leg stump, perhaps.
Umpire's call at best, I think.
I think it's probably missing leg even.
Given not out, it jags back to Root, and it's probably going slightly to the leg side and slightly over the leg stump. Yeah, about an inch to the leg side and an inch over. So not out.
So we were both right. Brilliant.
From New Zealand. We were, yeah, best of both worlds. As New Zealand lose their review, they have 2 remaining. They did use a successful review to get rid of Johnny Bairstow, and therefore kept it, but they've lost their first review. It was fairly tight, but it's not often these days that Root gets beaten like that, and it's bang in front of middle stump.
Warren accuses me of being a jinx, so just says Missy jinxes.
As folks leave Henry outside the off stump, they did get through for a leg bye off of that last ball. So folks is now on strike, and he's on 8 from 12. He's just left Henry outside the off stump for no run.
You get the feeling that Root is playing in such a zone now that his bat was on the line where the ball would have had to have been to hit the stumps.
Almost of that sort, yeah, and he's just playing just fabulously at the moment. As that's a good drive from Stokes, but it will pick out folks even. It will pick out the fielder. God, it's getting confusing. Root now is in that kind of zone which every batsman dreams of, which is if you don't get me out for 10 or 20, I'm getting 100. Which is just unbelievable. To think all those years ago of 2019, we talked about his conversion rate, and now 10 Test centuries since the beginning of 2020, as that's blocked by folk. Since the start of 2020, he has made 10 Test centuries. Williamson, Kohli and Smith in that time have made 4.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
That's combined, by the way, not each of them. They've all together made 4, the other members of the Fab Four. We are now entering the Joe Root zone as Boats drives and is denied a run by the fielder elected to cover.
I suppose you could say that the person that's coming up fast on the rails for that Fab Four is probably Babar Azam.
Yeah, definitely.
Certainly. Every time he goes out, there's an expectation he's going to do something for Pakistan.
I think he was next best on the list of century makers in that period with 6, I think.
5. He's now number 4 amongst the Test batsmen, and I think he's top of the ODI batsmen, is he not?
And we assume when they're updated next Wednesday. Oh, that's taken an edge, has it? Yes, says the umpire. Ben Folkes reviews immediately. It climbed on him. He dropped his hand, and it looked like it might have just caught the glove or the edge. New Zealand were pretty certain.
But is that the forearm, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, it's
perhaps even the shirt, just by the arm. as he tries to pull his hands away.
It was short, it was dug in on a good length, and it's just ricocheted off something. There's definite deviation, but maybe it's the forearm. It is, it's straight off his chest, in fact. You can see why the umpire was fooled. Big noise, big deviation, looks like it's come off a glove, but it's come straight off the chest guard of Ben Folks.
It's a foot away from his hands. That's okay. You can't judge distance in terms of depth perception, but on height perception, that's miles away before it starts to deflect. That's not a great decision by the umpire.
No, it's not.
And it's not out. Ben Folks keeps the review, and that's the end of the 98th over. England 4-16 for 5. I think we'll get one more in with this triumvirate before the change.
More importantly,
Okay,
one more review lost to New Zealand as well.
No, because it was given out.
Folks reviewed
it. Okay. Yeah.
So I've tweeted a link to our merchandise site, as has our friendly porn bot. O'Neill Harris says Stokes was batting like a T20, 139 strike rate in a game you're behind by 150 plus runs. Any other player would get a lot of criticism. Yeah, I think he's got some license. But Hendo says that was a bit brainless from Stokes. It wasn't aggression, it was arrogance. Ooh, don't quite understand it. He had New Zealand very much on the back foot, a bowler down, and he didn't need to blast every ball. Should have been looking to give England a 150 run advantage by an hour after lunch tomorrow. I think that's a fair call, actually.
I think that's fair too, as Root swept that one, and there was a brief appeal for LBW. He missed the sweep and it hit his pad. That's beaten Root's outside edge as he goes back. Bracewell getting into his work here as the new New Zealand specialist spinner. Ajaz Patel will never play another game, as Root is beaten on the outside edge going back, as in comes Bracewell against the third ball of his over. Oh, that was tight from Root. He's come right the way back in his crease and just at the last minute tapped it off his pads into the leg side for a single. But that is, we saw a lot of that in the subcontinent tour, where he made all those millions of runs against Sri Lanka and in the first test against India. A lot of going very deep back in his crease to the off spinner, playing it off the back foot very late indeed. And I remember sitting up at 4 a.m, constantly waking up my girlfriend in our little flat, going ooh and ah, because he kept almost getting LBW and never quite.
I bet that ended well.
Oh yeah. He's still here, so still asleep. Anyway, as Folks looks around at the field, taking a little moment to take stock of all the different fielders and pick the gap, he hopes, as that's in by Bracewell, and Folks defends into the ground. Then he kind of thumps into the pad of Blundell, and Folks just brushes it away with his...
This is impressive. At 2:30 a.m. in Melbourne, Dono is on a fucking roll. He says, you suggest that Bairstow is in the danger zone? I guess that's true. He bats like a maverick, but often he makes himself look like a goose. Boom, boom.
That's blocked by Bracewell, not by Bracewell, it was Bracewell bowling. Folks blocked it. Sorry, I was so distracted by that terrible joke. Folks fiddles at that outside the off stump, plays it back to the square and won't get a run. Yeah, Dono's done me there. And that should be the change. Yeah, that's the over. England finished that over 4-17 for 5.
Okay.
Stay on, and I'll slide over to summarising. We say goodbye to Metters, and we welcome the Bear.
O'Neill Harris is the next tweet.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, I'm back. It's supposed to be my day off today, but you know, Tony was the only other person who could come in, and he's going off to some artsy-fartsy thing, so I had to curtail my day off and come in. That's okay.
Oh, bad luck there.
That's all right. It's good. Good afternoon's cricket. Yeah, I concur with what you were saying just now about Stokes, though. It's just a bit like, just throw it away, really. There's no need for that.
Oh, there's a Hendo blasted tweets about it as well.
Well, I can imagine.
Oh dear.
on Henry's in onto the pads of Root, who just works that nicely down off his pads to Bolt at long leg, and there's no run.
Hendo makes me look like I have a sunny disposition about the England Test cricket team.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, the too long didn't read one that says little brainlessness. If it wasn't aggression, it was arrogance. And there's a much longer tweet that follows.
Yeah, I can imagine. I await that.
I'm Nigel Henderson. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Well, and what was Rifle thinking when he gave out Folks in that last over? That was mad. Henry in full and nicely played by Folks out to mid-on. There's no run. And he remains on 8. As we watch Ben Stokes get out there. It's a big top edge. He was obviously trying to blast it over move. You could tell. I mean, watching it here, as soon as he hit that, I thought that's not going. It's not a T20. The boundary isn't 15 yards in. In a T20, that probably would have gone. But this is a test match. And they're not the biggest of boundaries at Trent Bridge, especially there. That's the shortest one.
O'Neill Harris says, I think one of the keys is great spinners who can bat, make good spinners who can't bat, and really like poor spinners. I don't know to whom you refer. Is he calling Michael Bracewell a great spinner? I'm not sure he is.
I'm not sure he is. Folks works the next ball down to long leg and he gets himself a single, bringing Root back on strike.
Maybe he was referring to Warne, because Warne could bat and was also a great spinner.
Well, Warne, I think, still holds the record for the most number of test runs without a test 100.
Out on 99 to a no ball, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Massive no ball.
Oh well. Henry in, and Root plays that down towards his favourite place. Third man he wants 1. He's coming back for 2. That's bloody brainless. No, it's good running. God, I nearly picked it up on the turn. It's Conway down there. Not a great throw. Root was back quite easily in the end.
A couple of quick scamperers in the side at the moment.
Yeah. What are we on to? We're on 4:31.
4:21.
No, sorry, 3:31 is a GPL. 90 off of that. They're right in the heart of the GPL people. We've got an hour to go still though. Identical shot from Root. This time I think he will only get 1. And indeed it is. 1 ball left in the over. He's on 132. Folks 9. Henry 1 for 123 off just 24.5 overs. He's nearly going at 5 and over. Marginally under. And it's been a chastening day for the Kiwi bowlers.
Brian001 says, was Bairstow acting under instructions with that batting? Still nearly 200 behind when he came in. It's still a long batting time. Why would he think to tee off?
They just seem to have it in them today, don't they, to be going, that's what they want to do. Folks defends that, up to mid-on, there's no run. It's Brendan McCullum's gone, yeah, play your natural game, boys.
Johnny Bairstow's natural game is getting out with a massive gap between his bat and pad.
Yeah, true.
I think that Jack Leach has a huge role to play in this game if this...
Potentially.
To do a little bit.
Well, this is it. England have to get a lead, really, if they're going to do that. I mean, that's why, to a certain degree, Stokes was brainless, because if Stokes could have reined it in, it looked like he could get a quick ton. He doesn't have to do that, and he'd have got a quick ton anyway. He's going along at more than a run a ball. Root would have just played his natural game, and looks like he's going to be there forever. I mean, as it happens, it hasn't worked out, but if he had sort of calmed it down a bit and was still there, England could look to a reasonable, even if it's 150 or something, it gives you a shout at something, doesn't it? Fuck off. I am doing ball by ball. That's a terrible appeal by Bracewell. Big sweep by Root, misses it, hits his front pad. He's well outside his off stump, and they are thinking of reviewing it. You're fucking mad if you are.
Well outside the line.
So
they've reviewed it.
They have reviewed it. That's a waste of a review. He's a long
Trent
way
Bolt
outside.
is cheering like that.
It's way outside the line.
Yeah, but
surely.
bloody Trent Bolt's fielding at fucking third man. How the fuck does he know where it is?
It does look like it's a long
I mean, he's 45-degree angle to the stumps. He's a mile outside off stump. You can see his off stump inside his pad. It's even hit his arm. It's not hit his pad. Can you be LBW off your arm? I suppose you can, as long as it's not a glove and it's not a thing. Maybe it is in line actually.
It wasn't caught, was it? It wasn't caught.
No, it's a bit closer than you think because it hasn't hit the pad. It's hit the arm.
Yeah, okay.
Having gone through with a sweep shot. But,
I'll take my hubris back, Jason. I think you're right there actually. Initially, it looked like he hit the front pad well outside the side of our stand. I think it's actually turning too much.
I think it's too high.
But it was given not out. There is nothing on the bat. Does it hit any of the pad? Now, they could feasibly say let's hit the armband, just get this over and done with, and say it came off bat effectively.
I think there's a gap between wristband and ball there.
I don't think there is. I think that's hit the top of the wristband.
Ooh.
There's a tiny little scratch on outer edge right at that point where you think it's passing the wristband.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think
you might go through to the ball tracking.
His umpire's cool and he's going over. Well, it's not as bad. Well, it's going a fucking long way over. Actually, it's going about half a stump over.
That looks wrong from a prediction point of view.
Well, they're famously terrible with spin, Hawkeye. They never quite get the bounce of the spin or the turn. Sometimes you see the ball sort of curving back like it's swinging after it's spun, and you just kind of go, that's not right.
Yeah, I remember I have seen some howlers in my time on what looked like howlers and Hawkeye. But
very quickly,
that was a very quick ball by Bracewell in at mid-off. Worked into the leg side, and there is no run. Go on, Jace.
I was going to say, Brian is asking, why have we lost the people pictures on Hot Mic, which might have happened when you redid the start of the stream?
No, I realised I've just come in and done that. That's just clipped square on the leg side for a single, and there's no run. No, when I stopped sharing the picture, because otherwise it's just a black strip, so I just got rid of it, and I forgot to put it back in, and I only just realised when I came back in. So that's why, Brian. Sorry, apologies. We're back now. Should be anyway. If you refresh it, I can check for you. Driven square by folks out to cover. There's no run. No, we're there.
Yeah, I think Trent Bolt's just looking at that review and thinking that didn't bounce that much, surely.
It doesn't matter. It was umpire's call on impact, and it was given not out. So that's kind of irrelevant anyway. That is on the back foot, pushed by folks up to mid off. And there is no run. 4-2-3-5 for 5. England.
The point is that turned though. That turned a lot.
Yeah, he did. Gave it some air.
And so Jack Leach on a pitch like this, when it's starting to turn, trying to get England in the game.
Yeah.
An opportunity to prove himself.
Couple of steps down a track, just folks. Plays it back to the bowler, there's no run. And the good thing is, I mean, with Trent Bolt being a left arm over, and a lot of people are bowling around the wicket as well, they'll be rough outside both stumps. A lot of right-handers, which is good, as Leach is a lefty.
And averages terribly for left-handers.
Yeah, he does. I hate bowling to left-handers. Maybe he hasn't bowled to that many, and that's it. If you don't bowl to that many,
he's bowled to pants, and that's enough to ruin his average for a left-hander against left-handers.
Yeah, there you go. Very true. So yeah, he you know, he gets his wickets in his second innings as well. You know, he's not very good in the first innings, Leach, and those figures were touted in the first innings when he was bowling. You know, but he is pretty decent in the second innings. And if the pitch is going to break up, it'll be hopefully back end of tomorrow, day 5.
Jersey Oak says on Twitter, Stokes has dirty socks too. The Trent Bridge dressing room must be a mess. Yeah. In Sockgate news, Nifty Dubois says, Dave from Texas here, just about to sit down to our roast Sunday lunch. It's 108 degrees outside. Oh. Ow. We're listening to you, cools us down. Well, I'm sure Bear is going to warm you up fairly shortly with all his effing and blinding.
Well, let's hope not. We don't need any more wickets, as that's cut down to deep backward point. Conway fields it, it'll be a single. 108
When-
degrees. What's that in centigrade?
Something like
600.
30 odd, I think.
42.
42.
Ooh. The only problem for, as you say, the pitch degrading and starting to break up, is that England have to chase. The issue.
Well, they
with-
might not, but that's my point. Maybe they won't have to chase. That's what England have got to do. They've taken enough time out of this game by batting at such a pace, as folks works out on the leg side, and there's no run. That's why it was brainless to Stokes. The only chance that England have really got of winning this is probably getting 150, 200 runs ahead. And they still might have to chase, but then hopefully they wouldn't have to chase a lot.
I think if they get parity and then the old third innings curse and try and, maybe you bowl New Zealand for 170, 200, and then you've got to chase 170 on the final day.
Yeah, true. Ooh, driven at by folks. Nice drive, missed the ball. It goes through to Blundell, and there's no run.
So everything was right at that bat, apart from contact.
But also not the wrong sort of contact.
Yes. Well, that he played the line.
There was not too much contact, not too little contact.
Yeah. Yeah. Southey comes in to he's bowling at Folkes, who gets right behind that, defends it down the track. There's no run. I don't think you can declare it parity. I think that's mad. I mean, there's no point in declaring for England unless they get 250
No, I think
runs ahead.
we'll get bowled out for sort of parity.
Well, yeah, that would be unfortunate. I think the game would almost certainly be a draw then.
Yeah, unless New Zealand, then they maybe try to.
Well, yes, I guess. Well, I guess you say.
Then they get rolled for 140 or something.
Well, that's it. I suppose Southey comes in and defends that turn of the track. There's no run. I suppose if they want to theoretically win the series, they have to win this test, and they might try and push it. But I think this wicket is so. Unless it does, as you say, unless it breaks up, this wicket is still going to be good to bat tomorrow. I mean, it looks a draw. I just bet on England at 9-1 because I thought, it's a small amount of money. Why? It's a small amount of money.
There's no incentive for England to do anything other than just play the long game, just keep them out there as long as they can.
And we'll see if they create an opportunity. Short, slower. Is that out? No, he's dropped it. I think that was a.
I think it was
catch.
on the floor, wasn't it?
I think it was on a full, wasn't it? I thought that was a catching
Yeah,
chance.
No.
I think so.
I thought that
looked like it was.
I thought he hit it straight down.
I thought.
Which is bounced up a hell of a lot.
Well, yeah. We shall see on a replay, but I thought he top edged that because he seemed to look up after he'd hit it. Let's have a look.
No, it was on
he
the
did.
floor. I've just heard it on the commentary. It was on. We've got TMS in the background for some reason. Yeah, he just dropped it, shelled it completely.
Yeah. Who is that down there?
Will Young.
Is it Will Young? Yeah. Straight in. That's a bit like Potts yesterday. A catch that should have been caught. I mean, you've got to say, England and New Zealand have done pretty evenly on the dropping and the expense of the drops front.
You do wonder if Trent Bridge is a bad sighting ground where it's hard to see the ball.
And that's positive for England as well, because we were starting to worry, we got one game of good fielding and now it's back to rubbish. But actually, if New Zealand had been a bit rubbish as well,
that's all good.
And they were top of that famous slip catching table where we were bottom.
Yeah, that's true. That's driven nicely by folks up to mid-off, and there is no run. All these drops cost runs. I mean, they dropped Pope when he was on about 30, so that's cost him 100. That's dropped down into the offside.
Mitchell was dropped on 3.
Yeah, Mitchell was dropped on 3. That's gone for. Did they get back for 2? I don't think so. I think they just took 1 as it went down towards third man.
So if all those catches were held, I mean, England dropped over the first 2 days. I think they dropped 8 half chances and such. So all the catches are held. It's a different game.
Yeah,
it's a very competitive game.
Yeah. Root just angles that down towards third man. He'll get himself a single. Yeah, because Lees was dropped on not many as well. I mean, that's 40 odd runs there. I don't think Root's been dropped. Has Root offered a chance? Don't think he has.
Don't think so.
Bracewell into Folkes, who just clips that to mid wicket, and That looked like Jameson. Is he back on the field? No run.
Probably he's had the rest of the rub down, I imagine, to
Yeah,
get rid of whatever.
Did we ever get to the bottom of why he went off halfway through and over? That's driven by Folks. Beats the man at short cover. Wide mid off is Trent Bolt. He gets across to cover it. They will get a single though, and the score moves on to 4-2-8 for 5. Trail by 125. Roots on 135 off 169 deliveries. Batted exceptionally well. Folks 12 of 34. He came in after sprightly innings from Stokes, who kind of gave it away, which is annoying because you'd love to see that for another hour. Root goes deep in his crease, just knocks it out to mid wicket, heads off with a quick single. That is Jameson there, isn't it? Mid wicket, big tall bloke. I'm pretty certain it is. Looks like him.
Don't know who else it would be at that size.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, tweets.
A couple of bits from YouTube. Dara Azizi says, and this is a really good summary in one line. Bairstow watches Stokes too much, and Crawley watches Gower too much.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the way they play, and also out with Colin Suter, only Colin Suter. That DRS shout was purely based upon where Root landed post shot. He finishing on off stump when he was initially well outside off stump.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what the umpire gave it on. And it was a lot closer than I thought. I mean, I lacerated. I thought it was a really terrible decision to review, but actually it was quite good. They didn't lose the review. That is chopped down into the offside, and there is no run. Or did they lose the review?
They did lose the review
because
it was missing the stumps.
Yeah, it was missing the stumps. Of course they did. Maybe not by that much though. Chopped. No run.
A pithy tweet from Warren says, Bairstow's natural game is Sudoku.
On the balcony.
On the balcony, yes.
Well, yeah, he's got they'll probably give him the series though, won't they? Or maybe they should bring in Brooks for the last test, especially if this one ends up as a draw. That's whipped into the leg side by Root, and there is no run out to mid wicket.
Well, they only issued a squad for the first 2 tests, and then there's this little break, and with county championship in between.
And Brooks has been released to play.
Yeah, and then they're going to issue a squad for the 3rd test beginning on the 23rd.
Ben Compton's got to get being a shout, hasn't he, soon?
Well, let's see how they're doing today.
Brooks has failed. He only got 76.
Oh dear. I think Kent are bowling at the moment, so I don't think Compton's batting.
They are, I think. Gloucestershire are piling them on.
Clipped nicely out to wide, long, mid on, and they'll get 3 for a single.
Jamie Overton took 3 for Surrey as well. I
watched that. He bounced out his twin, and he bounced out Josh Davey as well. Wonderful. With two clangers on the head, which could require two concussion replacements.
Wow. How quick does he
Not
bowl?
a nice thing to do to you. He's quick.
Is he why has he never been in front before? That one's chopped down to gully, and there is no run.
Well, up until this year, he's always been a slightly injury prone, and he's cut his run up by about 10 yards, which has made him a lot more rhythmic as well, I think. So he's fitter, and he's cut his run up, and he's got more control.
Okay. Well, those are all positives. We'll get
then again, we used to hear about Craig Overton's extra yard of pace.
Yes.
And that never quite materialised once an actual speed gun got on it.
No, exactly. That one's chopped again by Root. Same result, straight to gully, and there's no run. Could have been a replay.
I was watching the stream before coming along here, and I loved it when Josh Davey had to be retired, and Craig Overton came back out having passed his concussion test, and Overton bounced in the very next ball. Having retired him earlier.
Also, don't we love when we get a new fast bowler into the side with a history of injury?
Yes, well, they all do. As Southey is into Root, who drives at that one, and that's a full shot. There's a little roll of the wrist from Southey. got over the top of Root's slash drive at it. It was probably there for the shot, but he missed it. Quite easy
Josh
down,
Hoover
yep.
says that New Zealand are reporting Jameson is out for the rest of the day because of soreness in the lower back when bowling.
Oh no.
Oh, the poor baby.
No, but no, soreness in the lower back is usually
stress
not
fracture.
Great, yeah. I mean that's how Jofra Archer just got done. Ollie Robinson's just had an injection in his lower back. Yeah, Archer particularly, they said he was back training, doing everything normally, and then just felt sore the next day. They went and x-rayed it and got a stress fracture, out for 6 months. Sorry. So I hope that's not the case for Jameson, who's just kind of come back into a bit of better form in Test matches after a little lull.
Clipped nicely by Folks, but straight at Jameson with his stiff back at mid-wicket. No, it's Tim Southey, sorry.
Jameson must still be off the field then. I don't imagine they've sent him out.
Well,
Imagine so.
no, possibly not.
He was signed by Surrey last year for the T20 and won 4-day game, and he didn't last a 4-day game.
Really?
Before getting a back injury of some form.
Okay. Putting it back down the track, and there is no.
So he does have previous.
Never like to see that, fast bowlers and back problems.
No. Bracewell is in and played back down the track to him. As Folks takes a couple of steps to it. No run. You kind of wonder, do you think? I mean, surely this stuff's been going on time and more. It just never used to get picked up.
Well, that's the thing. Take Jofra Archer as the case in point after this ball.
Bracewell has just cut out to point, and there is no run.
Where a Brian Saven may come out and go, "Oh, I'm a bit sore after bowling. Maybe I'll take a day off and then I'll get back to it tomorrow." But Jofra's had, "Oh, I'm a bit sore after bowling," and they've taken him for a scan. Stress fracture, and you've got to rest.
Yeah, that's clipped by Folks. Can't beat mid-wicket. It scrambles across square, and there is no run.
But there's equally an issue probably of getting fast bowlers on pitches more rewarding for 75-mile-an-hour bowlers in April, running in and bowling hard when it's cold.
Yeah,
that's probably an English problem which we have, and why maybe
wow.
Australia don't have any.
That's a good ball by Bracewell. He's tossed it up, it's spun, beat Folks on the inside, but unfortunately it's also beat the fucking keeper. And it's gone all the way down for 4 byes. That's very unfortunate for the bowler.
I just enjoyed the fact that there were 4.
Yeah.
4 separate New Zealand fielders chasing that ball all the way to the boundary.
Yeah, they're all chasing after it, and the ball won.
That has turned though.
Yeah,
that
it has
turned
turned
well.
I mean,
and Jack Leach will be happy with that.
Precisely. This is the thing. Again, go back to Stokes being a bit brainless.
Turn and bounce, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe that DRS was not so bad, because that was pretty full and bounced well over the top of the stump.
Yeah, it did, yeah. And that's another thing spinners love. Bit of bounce, bit of turn and bounce. Fucking hell. That's where it's at, man.
But Bracewell is kind of known as someone who does rip the ball. Jack Leach, not so much known as a big turner, which is why I think Parkinson would have been interested on this pitch as a big turner.
You don't have to turn it massive, If it's going to turn big, the pitch will do it. That's full. On outside off stump, on a roundabout off stump anyway, and Root just clips it square on the leg side, out deep square leg.
I think Leach bowls a bit too fast sometimes and kind of digs it in just back of a full length, and he wants to get more flight, more
a little bit more flight, yeah,
fuller, just to force the back. Parkinson a bit too slow and a bit too full, so they play the full ball off the back.
I was
starting it in.
Yeah, I was watching his paces the other day when he was bowling. That's into the ground, sits up, says "hit me." So Folks hits him, and it's gone down to the boundary for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Folks is a good bat.
He's awfully good on that swivel pulls and just keeping the ball down.
I've really enjoyed watching Folks bat. My kids are on the Xbox. I'm getting messages. That's what that pinging sound is. That's my daughter sending messages to her mates. For some reason, they come through on a jingle machine. Southey in, pulled again by Folks. Doesn't mind a pull, does he? And it's down to deep square leg, and they get back for 2. End of the over.
Yep, we've had
I think we'll
the normally foul-mouthed Roger Melly saying the players never went off with concussion before they started wearing helmets. That was because they knew how to get their heads out of the way of the effing ball, which is something very true. They were, I remember Desmond Haynes saying that they were always taught when they were coached to be going over their left shoulder as they were batting as a right-hander.
Well, I think it's because they didn't come off with concussion; they came off with a fractured skull, or a broken nose.
Or they didn't come off
come off at all. Yeah, or they, came off unconscious or whatever. So, we don't pine for those days.
Sorry, does anyone know how to turn off Xbox Messenger on our PC?
I'm afraid not. I'm a PlayStation man myself. Anyway, I think we'll be due a change at the end of this over.
Yeah, we will be. That's clipped into the leg side out to deep mid wicket for a single. As Southey continues. 26.5 overs he's bowled. And England now only trail by 110. And what have we got? We got half an hour left. Should be finishing now, of course. 4-4-3. So England have scored 3-5-3 today. I think that's Messi Jez's top score. That's right, isn't it? Take 90 off 43. 4-4-3. That's 3-5-3, isn't it?
Yes.
And there you go. Top score in the GPL has just been beaten. 357 runs in a day so far with half an hour to go. That's toe-ended past the keeper. It's a poor ball. It was a slower ball, but it was down leg side, and it's gone all the way. Very fine for another 4.
And we shall move with Bears Xbox notifications into the final half an hour. Bye to Jason. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will see you in the one dayers, I think, because I don't think I'm on for the rest of the match.
Colin is saying, Bear, you need to uninstall the Xbox app from the PC.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to use PCs.
I think you right-click the app and press uninstall.
Oh, do you?
Possibly. We're welcoming Messi Jez back to the box. He'll be reading out your social media messages. The Bear will be on summarising once he's uninstalled Xbox. And I'm on ball by ball, as that's slightly edgy from Folks. Bracewell is returning to the attack. And it's gone out into the offside for no run. It was just kind of off the outside half of the bat, but well defended by Ben Stokes. Bracewell 1 for 45 off his 12. Took some tap from Ben Stokes, but eventually got the England captain, as that's driven hard back to him by Folks, but will be stopped by Bracewell. Yeah, getting being captain out, slogging into the deep, the good old slog sweep to cow corner, and Trent Bolt was the willing cow in the corner to receive the catch, as that sort of turns Stokes around a little bit, but he defended into the leg side, no run. As we'll have a look at some variable bounce. Yes, we are seeing some variable bounce from Bracewell. He pitched one a bit fuller and got a lot more bounce than the shorter, faster ball that he put in, as that's played out into the offside by Folks. Sorry, I'm boring you, Jez.
I think I've
no,
done
sorry, it's just been a long day. It's just gone 1 a.m. here, and I had a meeting this morning at 9 a.m. So it's been a long day.
A long day. Bears had victory against the technology, the forces of modernity.
Hey.
As Folks defends off the back foot. Nothing can beat the Bear, not even modernity itself.
No, I haven't stopped the messages come through. It says press the Windows and G key, so I went there and you can turn down the sound. So I don't mind the messages coming through. It's just the annoying beep 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 constantly going off.
Yeah. Well, the Bish was suffering it this morning when he was on.
Yes, I didn't realise it was so. It's my daughter.
How long has your daughter been playing Xbox for, Ben?
She's probably been on Minecraft all day.
Oh God. Minecraft, that's a throwback. I used to play it. How old's your daughter?
16.
That's tucked into the leg side by folks. I mean, I used to play Minecraft when I was about 15, and that's,
How old are you again?
I'm 22.
Yeah, so you're only actually 6 years older than my daughter.
You are ridiculously that young.
Fucking hell, man.
You're only 6 years older than my grandson. Fuck.
Well, I'm very sorry about that, and hopefully no one, I really hope no one, particularly Mog, will end up snipping off the bit where I asked Bear, how old is your daughter?
Yeah.
I feel like Mog would make something out of
yes,
that.
I'm sure he would.
Not happy about it.
I think
someone
Jake
would be
Grover would
tweeting
be
him
the
right
one
now.
to be worried about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just getting out the digital shears at the moment to cut that little bit of audio out.
Ombre Nuevo asks a question most of us are probably not qualified to answer. Is the bad lower back issue for bowlers a sign of our times? Modern life means most of us, kids and adults alike, are bent over screens every day and have been progressively getting worse for the last 20 to 30 years.
Driven very hard by Root. A slap to the boundary, and he gets to 147 with one of these. I think you might have a point there, Ombre, in a way, though, in that I am, as we've mentioned, 22 years of age, and the other day I got up out of bed, leant down, and my lower back locked up, which is not good.
No, I had that when I was a kid, though. I've had back problems all my life. That doesn't necessarily mean it, but...
Bear's a little bit ahead of me, as you heard by the sound effects, but Root aimed a cut shot at that. It was probably a little too close and a little too bouncy to cut, and it's just gone over the top edge of his bat. You can hear that the Bear's a millisecond ahead by the ooh
yeah,
sort of thing.
Can't help myself.
Neither can I. Don't worry. I'm always on summarising, going ting tang walla walla bing bang, etc.
Exactly.
You're way too young to know all that stuff.
As Trent Bolt is warming up, it seems. There once was a jolly swagman camped by a billabong, as in comes Saudi, and it's clipped off the leg by Root for another one of these.
Day.
It has been a very long day. And Root got to 150. An innings of...
I know that before.
No, neither have I. An innings of masterful control by Joe Root. 151 from 181. Leaves that alone from Saudi. Yeah, he's been... And it's a wide!
A test match wide. Now they're rare in their own right. That clip to mid-wicket was sublime, man.
Very nice. And Joe Root has played fabulously today, and while Ollie Pope couldn't quite get to 150, he has been surpassed by the Jedi Master that is Joe Root, who then almost immediately drives one on the up to extra cover, but manages to keep it along the floor just about, and will stay on 151. As Pope has a little smile at Ben Stokes, I think. Ben Stokes is mimicking Pope getting out just before his 150 and saying, "That could have been you, young lad," as Pope has a little laugh about it. But a very good innings from Pope, and one that cemented him in the side for a good run. And Root, well, he's never going to get out this side, is he, until he retires or possibly dies. He plays that one back for the square for no run.
I mean, his purple patch just continues, doesn't it? I mean, you kind of think it's got to come to an end at some point, but he's just batting like he's been, since last year, he's been batting like a god.
He's climbing that list of all-time Test run scorers. He passed Steve Waugh, I think was the last one he passed.
Yep.
and he's chugging along. Is the little engine that Joe Root is, as he gets a sweet on drive, straight as you like, and that'll be another one of these.
And we only trail 193 now.
I've just been reliably informed by the alternative commentary in the background that this is Joe Root's, I think it said his 650 plus score in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, hadn't he, didn't he score 2 or 3 triple tons?
2 double tons, a couple of 180s.
Yeah,
I think 150 and then this.
Didn't he score a double ton in the Windies as well this year?
No, I think he scored a 150 in the Windies, not a double.
Okay.
And he's now reached the stage where even if he's out, his average will stay above 50.
That's cool. They're all taking their shoe off. What are they doing now? I don't get that.
Shoes off if you love Joe Root, maybe?
I don't know.
That's a classic. Shoes off if you're England. England, as it is. Joe Root signalling for a horse to ride or a lawnmower or something.
I don't know. The next ball is defended back up the track. No run. Bracewell starts. Oh, that's you. Sorry, isn't it?
It's me. Thank you very much, there. He just can't help himself, can he?
It's been a long day.
As folks clip that into the leg side from Bracewell, round past short leg, and they'll get a single. As we see the pictures of more shoes being removed in favour of Joe Root and his 150. Maybe if he gets a double, he can do a Daniel Ricciardo from F1 style shoey. That's popular in your land, isn't it, Messers?
Not with anybody who's got any sense of taste. Warren says Bear is sounding more and more like a South London club on a Friday night.
I've had a couple of beers in quick succession. It's a sunny day.
In comes Bracewell round the wicket to Joe Root, who's backing in defence. We saw this in Sri Lanka last year, and even when the off-spinner went round the wicket on a turning pitch, Root just relentlessly swept and reverse swept. So we could look forward to a bit of that. As Root clips that into the leg side for no run. What that does mean, though, is that there's turn. The off-spinner doesn't really go round the wicket to a right-hander.
No, very
it's
true.
not turn.
Yep.
Bracewell's getting some sort of movement, and England will be encouraged by that, Jack Leach in particular, as in comes Bracewell again. And Root's back in defence and playing that one into the offside. And they'll come through for 2. Yes, Joe Root is very quick between the wicket. It was Axe deep point, and they got 2. Root moves to 157.
Apparently the crowd was singing, according to Cricket Info, "Take your shoe off if you love Joe Root." There you go. Fuck knows why, but there you go.
Since January 2021, we're just seeing Root has been averaging 60 in Test cricket, as he blocks that one into the offside for no run. No short fielders in front of square now, a leg slip and a slip, but no short leg, which if there was a lot of turn from round the wicket you might expect to see, but I think they're worried about Root sweeping hard in both directions, because he is very good at that, and from round the wicket can pick up the line quite nicely.
I think he might chill out for tonight, though. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But there's it's only 20 minutes left to go. I don't think you take any unnecessary risks.
No, probably not. As that was the end of the over, in fact. So England are 463 for 5. A miracle, were it not for New Zealand scoring 550. But if this was the first innings of the game, we'd all be very relieved. So as it is, we're still trailing by a bit.
Leah comes in with some extraordinarily bad advice for a parent, which obviously comes from someone who doesn't have to take the responsibility itself. She says to you, Bear, just cancel your Cubs Xbox Live. Easy. That would be far from easy. As a parent myself, I can tell you that has got years of pain attached to it.
That would have severe ramifications.
Umbrella Over says, can we place bets on if there are more runs scored or notifications from Bears Xbox by the end of play?
I've uninstalled it
I
now.
think he's killed it.
I've killed it. I turned it down and then I uninstalled it.
As Trent Bolt will return to the attack for the last 20 minutes of play, see if he can prize one out with the old ball. In he comes, left arm over the wicket to Ben Folkes, who gets a bit of zip off the pitch and almost cut in half by one, a little inside edge onto thigh, I think. And no run as Bolt will field off his own bowling.
Getting a bit cloudy, starting to turn the floodlights on. Should get through another half an hour or through 15 minutes now.
15 minutes, yeah. I don't think they'll take them off yet. The floodlights are just coming on, Stokes just warming up. As we see Folkes back foot down, taking guard, slightly open stance for the left-hander, left arm bowler. As that's left alone outside the off stump, and big wobble after the stump. And even though that passed the off stump by a good foot, Blundell had to dive down the leg side to take it, really illustrating how well Folkes kept in the first innings. The trouble that Blundell has had, he's had a few on the fingers.
Yeah, it's true.
I think he only gave up one by Folkes in the first innings.
Yeah,
he was doing a bit.
Like
that was good from him. As in again is Bolt to Folkes and a solid forward defence for no run. England in a decent position, trailing by 90. They'll probably be trailing by 85-ish by the end of the day. That puts them in a decent position tomorrow. Knock off 80 or so runs in the first session and a bit, and try and set up the game.
Well, this is exactly that.
As in Bolt ducked under by Folk, the short ball which rose high and was collected by Blundell well behind the stump.
Well, you've got to, but I guess there's no point in believing that the game is over. I mean, they batted the best part of 5 sessions. England have batted 4 sessions so far. If they bat another session, I imagine they'll be at parity or ahead. If they can bat a session beyond that and through the tee tomorrow somehow, exactly that. Get some runs in front and let loose Jack Leach and see what happens, I guess.
And hopefully
let loose Jack Leach. I'm quivering.
In comes Bolt, defended by Folkes, no run. Yeah, and then hopefully you can get New Zealand out for 200 in the third innings and give yourself 2 sessions to chase 150.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear, Hendo would cut you guys down to size. That outrageous optimism, he just doesn't prove.
That's just a possible option, but no doubt 5 wickets will be lost for 10 tomorrow morning, and then all will be miserable again, as it should be.
Well,
are we at the end of an over or not? I can't tell.
Sorry?
Where are we?
No.
Are we at the end of an over?
No, two balls. They're just manoeuvring the field as deep square leg comes in a bit to Ben Folkes. That's a great ball from Trent Bolt. Folkes drawing his bat back inside the line. He looked to play it, beat the outside edge, and Bolt shaking his head. You can't quite believe that's missed. But let's have a look at this. An absolute peach. It starts sort of on off stump and just jags away. Possibly could have left that, Ben Folkes, if you were being brutally critical, but it's done something off the pitch, and he's lucky not to get an edge. That is the end of the over, with England 463-5, trailing by 90 runs exactly. Messi Jez.
Very kind tweet from Matt Searle. It says the dedication that Messi Jez puts in is admirable. Getting up at 9 a.m, still going strong at 1 a.m, while I struggle to stay awake to listen to anything past 10. Well done, sir, and thank you for the effort. Thank you, Matt. I'll let you in on the secret. I fucking love doing this. It may get tiring on occasion, but I really enjoy being with you all. It's my other family.
Yeah.
And can I use this as an opportunity to encourage you to become even more a part of the family if you're not already, by becoming a Patreon and supporting us in this work, because it's a lot of fun being part of the Gorilla family, and that little contribution makes a big difference to us if there are a lot of people doing it, and helps us just to keep going. So thank you, Matt, and thank you all
Well put.
And the bot has said, "Grumpy Senior's corrupting 20-year-old." Click here.
God, that's a bit niche for a bot, isn't it? As
it's a very niche bot.
Henry for no run, and yeah, I just have to concur with what Messi just says. There's a reason that we stay up till 4 a.m. In the Ashes series and stuff like that, and some of us aren't as young as we used to be, Bear, and so good effort from all, and it's because we absolutely love what we do, and any help you can give us, it's much appreciated. In comes Henry and then bails out right on the last step. Must have lost his run up in the jump there.
Yeah,
sorry, Bear, you were the butt of my comedic relief.
That's all right, don't you worry. I'm used to it. It's okay. Those long nights in the Ashes. Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As that's defended by Root, and no run up to mid-off. Yeah, they're good fun though. They're good fun.
Yeah, no, and weirdly, England doing so badly, it adds a little frish onto it too.
I honestly don't think I'll ever forget just standing in front of my TV here at my house as Henry is in and Root leaves it alone outside the off stump. Yeah, just standing in front for the first ball going, right, just don't lose a wicket. Yeah. Don't lose a wicket. Don't lose a wicket. And then anyone who's in my house at the time, hopefully only 2 people at that time, can attest that they would have heard a loud shout of "Fuck!" at the first ball of the action.
I mean, it was just the perfect first ball. It summed everything up that was going to happen.
That's Lex on Root. That's a bit of inconsistent bounce, and it's come off the outside edge and gone down towards third man for just a single, but it was a bit of a surprise ball there for Root. It's just let off a late slightly.
Linux Lear accused Roger Mellier of channeling Jeff Boycott, and he says, "I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Before helmets, players didn't get hit on the head. Now it's happening a dozen times every series, and of course we have Phil Hughes," which is true. Farong says, "Gone past the 1,000 run mark for the test, 15 wickets. Fair to say it's a flat track."
Yeah.
Every one of those wickets caught too, by the way.
Yeah.
As Folks drives nicely and beats the diving mid-off, and that's a very sweet drive actually. Straight and pretty nice. Ball. Straight through the extra cover region, and the full face of the bat there for Ben Folks. Lovely drive. Lovely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot. Very correct, yeah, as you say, Foot out to the pitch of the ball, driving through the line. None of this just butt that way.
It's a long while since we've heard an England batsman's technique described as correct.
Yeah.
That swung! Henry has come back with a peach, a Jaffa, I might even say. And Folks, well, not much he could do about that. He's driven the line and been beaten all ends up. Big movement. In fact, he was probably only saved by the fact that he was slightly incorrectly driving towards mid-on rather than straight. Otherwise, he would have nicked that.
Well, yeah. But he was full face of the bat. He was driving straight. He wasn't trying to turn. He might well have caught it if he was trying to turn it as well. Would have got across a bit more.
That's the thing with Zach Crawley. Sometimes he drives to mid-on and it actually saves him the edge. But a lot of the time then he gets a ball on off stump, which anyone would drive straight to mid-off, and he drives to mid-on and nicks.
Yeah. Although the ball he got yesterday was an absolute cracker.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
As the man who bowled that ball is starting a new over with England 465. In comes Bolt. And Root dabs behind, but only as far as the man in the gully, no run. Have you seen the stat about Crawley? That he edges 8% of his delivery, and no opener in Test cricket since he debuted has edged that percentage of delivery. He has the highest edging percentage for openers since his debut.
Wow.
That's easy to believe.
Yeah.
8% of all deliveries he has bowled, he edged. Not ideal.
That's crazy.
No.
As Root leaves alone, I mean, that means, get a 50.
A ball every 2 overs.
Well, yeah, to get a 50, it's 100 ball innings, roughly, if you're striking at 50. That is just over 10 edges in that, and, one of those is going to go to hand. So the probability for him to make even a 50 is small.
Yeah.
That's really bad maths, though.
It is terrible maths.
8% of 100 is 8.
Pretty poor. As Root.
Yeah, but if you present, but if you present 8 chances,
God, I'm thick. Sorry, Ben. Carry on.
It's been a long day. I keep saying.
Marveling at my own stupidity.
That's all right.
Oh, dear.
You convinced me
fun.
for a second.
I got an A in GCSE maths. Long time ago.
Oh dear.
As Root attractively clips off his toes, but a diving fielder at mid wicket will mop it up, and there'll be no run. Sorry, Bear, you were saying.
No, well, I was agreeing with you. So why have we gone wrong?
That's gone spectacularly well. There.
Well, I think the advice you were given a couple of hours ago not to do maths when you're stoned is probably not bad advice there.
Yeah.
Warren says there's a buzzing in the background reminiscent of Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory. Are you putting together a perfect gorilla from the other gorillas?
As Root has left the...
We already have perfect gorillas.
Yeah, but we have chopped up Tony Bishop in the back room, and we're reassembling them in different ways.
There was a buzz earlier. I don't know where it was coming from, though. I couldn't ascertain if it was me or one of you, or... But
I think we might just fuse Tony, Hendo, and the Bear to get the sort of ultimate gorilla, who is always available to go into the studio. So that none of us have to do it, as it's left alone by Root.
Oh, you get the good version and the bad version, and the good one will be really, really good, and the bad one will be fucking awful.
As that's the end of the over, 468 for 5, with England trailing by 85. What have our tweeters to say about this?
Well, Perko's come up with a strategic alternative to unleashing Jack Leach. He says, what about unleashing Jack Loose? And Leah says it's a weird crowd. They should have chanted, "Take your shoes off if you love Nikita," because there's a photo of Nikita Khrushchev with a slipper in hand for some strange reason. I don't know why, but obviously an occasion of import. You can't get a bear in hand. You can only get them in the bush.
2 of them. That's the edgy from folks. God, it's all going a bit weird.
It's all falling apart.
Folks has edged it sort of.
I haven't even been drinking.
Neither have I.
I've had 3 beers and a couple of reefers. That's all right.
It's just that sort of portion in the evening when the sun gets low and it's all a bit mad. As folks clips that off his kit, no run as it's fielded by mid-on.
I blame Dono for bringing out influence of all that fucking raging gig that he went to. Just spread to the rest of us.
I haven't been to a gig for donkeys.
They don't have many gigs for donkeys.
No.
Boom boom. That's a Bish joke.
Oh dear,
yeah.
As Stokes defends off the back foot, no run to be had there. This, I think we'll get one more over in after this.
I think so.
We've got 3 minutes for 3 balls of this over and the start of the next one, so Bolt will probably get his chance to try and pry out one of the set batsmen here, as that's driven straight by Stokes, but a diving Matt Henry in his follow through will collect it for no run.
Well, they will have done well. They will have got 88 overs in for the day, which isn't too bad.
Considering, yeah, well, there's not hardly any wickets gone down, have they? And they'd have scored what? Currently, they've scored 378 runs, blown everyone out of the water on a GPL.
As Stokes leaves alone, and Tom Blundell weaves his way slalom-like through the bending over slip, possibly giving one of them a tap on the backside there with the ball. I think he did. Got to keep it light. Keep it light. Yeah. Just keep the whimsy in it. That's what we're trying to do here at Gorilla, anyway.
Well, speaking of whimsy, the Pornbot says stern maths teacher punishes 2 schoolboys, one being a grammar school boy, for not showing their work. Yeah.
As Henry's in and it's left alone by folks. The 2 schoolboys didn't show their work for me and Bear on that last match.
Absolutely.
And Jez will be the stern school teacher.
Absolutely.
As Michael Goff is prowling the outfield, the umpire slowly. They are making moves to change their umpiring position, so we will get one more. Yeah, 1.5 minutes, 1 minute till the close of play. So this will be the last over. Trent Bolt will bowl it with Joe Root on strike on 158 from 198 delivered. Folks 24 off 66, England 468 5, trailing by 85. Bolts had 3 for 84 off 25.3 overs.
Mrs. Luigi Magpie knows shit. She says Nikita Khrushchev, the Russian bear, took off a shoe and banged it on the table at the United Nations.
As that's a full toss by Bolt, a wide full toss, and Roots just dealt with it. It's cream through the extra cover region for 4.
It's Nissan She. It's
Not what it deserved, really, though, wasn't it?
Don't know what he was trying to do there, Trent Bolt, but
He's
Root
getting
is
tired. He's tired. It's the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. See ball, hit ball there for Joe Root. They don't come much easier than that. And if you miss out on those, you feel a bit bad. But it was a nice delivery to get first ball of the final over of the day.
Absolutely.
As in again is Trent Bolt, left arm over the wicket, short, pulled hard by Root. There's a man in the deep. They'll just get through for 1. Joe Root will no doubt, if he's not miraculously balancing his bat as he did at the end of the last test, he will no doubt whip off his gloves, sit on the bat handle and say, I'm not going anywhere, over to you, Ben. As folks take strike. Dom Sibley used to do that. He used to take off his gloves before he ran every time, and a lot of the time near the end of the day he'd just be leaning sort of nonchalantly on his bat handle with the look of, I'm not going anywhere, block it out. Yeah,
I'm staying here, you take it.
Yeah. Nasser Hussain was one of those. He was almost facing the other direction when the final over of the day was on. As that's blocked by folks. It's a sort of half-hearted drive that's stopped by Bolt's outstretched arm. Yeah, there's a few who have been pretty, once you get into the last over of the day, they've gone, like, I'm off strike. Nothing. No.
Yeah, I'm not running.
No run. No one wants to have to deal with the last ball of the day. No one wants to get out.
No, exactly.
As Folk is in, and it's good for Folk. Like Root's on 163, we definitely don't want him out on the block.
No, exactly.
As Folks defend a pretty straight ball from Bolt, that becomes pad nicely, and we will have 2 balls left in the day. Trent Bolt's ball count has been messed up by the fact that he took over and over from Jameson, who had to go off halfway through it. But I think we've got 2 balls.
The Dreadprite Rowan is with us. She says, Offspring, teenager formerly known as Mini Surrey fan, has just informed me this is the first time since 2014 England and number 3 and 4 have both got a ton in the same innings.
Wow.
Oh, excellent. And Folks defend. Yeah, well, that's nice to hear. Who were the 3 and 4 in 2014? That would be.
Oh, that's demanding.
Oh.
Well, that would have been.
Bell?
That would have been Trott, possibly, because he went off.
No, not in 2000. I thought he was a little bit.
Could have been Root again.
Yeah, I think it might have been Root and it could have been Bell as well. I think he used to bat 4 sometimes, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Our stats man will come up with that shortly.
That's you, Twitter.
And Josh Hoover's on your side. He says, while the maths is all wrong, the point stands. 100 balls to get 50 means 8 edges. Even if only half of those go to hand, then Crawley needs 4 drops on average to get to his half century.
And the final ball beats the defending edge of Ben Folkes. God. But we get through to stumps on day 3 with England 473 for 5, trailing New Zealand's first innings score of 553 by 80. We'll just do a quick run down the scorecard. Lee was caught by Mitchell in the slips, flashing at a wide one on 67. Crawley went first, actually, yesterday, when Bolt got him with a peach for 4. Ollie Pope compiled a beautiful 145, having been dropped early in the piece, but then top-edged a Bolt bouncer and was caught in the deep by Henry. Root is not out on 163, having played just magnificently. He really never looked like getting out. Bairstow, big gap between bat and pad, inside edge, well actually off the glove on the inside edge, through to keeper for 8. Stokes slogging Michael Bracewell, give him his maiden test wicket, slogging 1 too many and went out to 46. And Ben Folkes is out there at the close, 24 not out. Bowling figures, Southey 0 for 119 off 28, Bolt 3 for 89 off 26, Henry 1 for 128 off 27, Jameson injured now, has only bowled 16.3 overs, he's come off with lower back soreness, 0 for 66, Bracewell on debut, 1 for 48, the England skipper, his victim, off 14, and Darryl Mitchell, only 2 overs, slightly surprised me, for 8, none for 8. And that's a rundown of the day, and I leave you in the capable hands of the bear to fade us out.
Well, yeah, that's it. Interesting. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 to 11 for day 4 of this test. Could be an intriguing day.
I was just about to tell you that the test match we're talking about in 2014, I'm almost there, hang on. England won by 266 runs in Southampton against India, and Gary Ballance and Ian Bell both made centuries.
Gary Ballance, wow.
The racist bastard.
Yeah. Wow.
In fact, both made 150s.
Wow, there you go. That was quite a trouncing then. And on that note, we'll be back in the morning at 10:50.
I'm actually done for this test, so I will see you all in the 3rd test.
Okie dokie.
You're not going to be here for the ODIs against Netherlands?
I don't think so, I'm not sure. Okay. But see you all in the 3rd test.
Okay.
Thanks, Jacob. See you then.
See you then.
Thanks so much. Bye.
See you, Bear. See you all. Thank you all. And don't forget Patreon.
Yeah.
Good night.
See ya.
Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick Guerrilla Cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, Guerrilla Cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara,